What's up, Jazz?
That is a step too far.
Yeah, the party gets like the Constitution. You know, Justin Amash, who was a congressman from Michigan, libertarian, he's been very outspoken. He's no longer in the party or in Congress. The people who were in Congress and talked endlessly about the Constitution, they were clearly in bad things. Mike Lee,
Not
Utah, the senator from Utah. This guy was the constitutional. He never stopped talking about the Constitution and liberty. And then turns out he was involved allegedly in the attempt to rig the, overturn the 2020 election with the fake electors. We know now that he defends anything Trump says online. These people clearly were in bad faith. They just confirmed this week, John, a manifestly unqualified, unfit judge to the federal judiciary.
You're talking about Emil Bove, who was the president's personal lawyer.
President allegedly told staff, according to whistleblowers, to fuck the judges, tell the judges to fuck off when they get rulings they don't like. He's now been confirmed to the bench. And there are some, like, I think there's a guy called Greg Nunziata, I think his name is, former Marco Rubio staffer, who has been very principled on this and spoken out. And he said on Twitter this week, if you're a conservative who claims to care about Constitution, this is it, it's over. By confirming this guy, never pretend again that you care about the Constitution or about human rights. So I don't think it was in good faith. And even this stick about we don't care about the Constitution, the guy who said I'm a fascist on Jubilee,
you got water?
he was very explicit that he loves this.
Why do you get water from my fridge?
And then he goes on a little sympathy tour last week, apparently, on TV, saying he lost his job. Apparently, he didn't lose his job. He lost his job earlier, but he tried to say he lost because of this. Difficult and self-serving and convenient.
The victimization. I've almost think that the right for all their critics. Did you ever meet Roger Ailes? Had you ever?
Thankfully, I did not.
Oh, Betty, you missed out on one of the love.
What are some reasons, Jazz? What are some reasons I can put in the poll? Why do MAGA love Jeffrey? We need a vote. Yeah, anything to basically grift, It's all about that Citizens United. It all comes down to Citizens United, JS, doesn't it? Citizens United really fucked America because it just gave avenue for all this dark money, corrupt people. People get corrupted because of because all the monetary bullshit in the system. Okay, so pedos. I need 3 because I love pedos. Because let's see, why do they love Jeffrey? Well, Trump is Jeffrey because they're 1933, because they're Nazis. We need 3. They don't believe in the rule. They don't believe in the Constitution. I don't know. I don't know what 3s. Because Trump. Oh, because Trump's a Jeffrey. There's one. Trump's a Jeffrey. That's why they love Jeffrey. Okay. All right. MAGA loves pedos. Well, the women are all right. All right, so, all right, they worship money. I think about it. All right, there you go. I was trying to figure out. I was trying to figure out a poll to go with the question: why do MAGA love Jeffrey? Cindy, I don't know. I don't know. You like Mike? You like the mosh pit? We got the mosh pit going. This is the mosh pit. Come in the mosh pit. And that he is Santana. Trump is a dictator. He's not really a dictator yet. He's a wannabe dictator. I don't think you can say he's a dictator. He's a wannabe dictator. He's a Nazi. MAGA likes pimps. That's a good one. I should have done that one. Anyway. He is. He's very dangerous. And the more he gets cornered because of Epstein, the more dangerous Trump is going to become. Don't you agree? I mean, who knows what this fucker is going to do? But it looks like that Republican senators are getting they're getting fed up with Epstein. I don't know if you heard. Did you hear this Republican senator? They were like, well, what do you know? When are you going to get over it? And the senator goes, well, when is the media going to get over it? And media responds, well, when do you think the voters going to get over it? The senator goes, they're not. that was a Republican senator, right, on that.
I had one of those bananas types meetings at Fox News in the bowels of Fox News behind. It was
when you were trying to get your primetime show.
Exactly. I wanted to work there so bad. If you would only let me. I used to go on Bill O'Reilly's show. Every now and again, they would bring in the clownish liberal, myself, and I would go on there. And one day, one of the people came down and said, Mr. Ailes would like to see him. And I thought, well, geez, I didn't even know he lived in the building. So we had to walk through the kinds of get smart, doors were open and shut. You didn't really know where you were until you got to this one part of the building that was colder than the other parts of the building. You almost felt the hair on the back of your neck and the chill. You could see everybody's breath in this one part. And he and I yelled at each other in the office for about an hour. He wanted me to show appreciation to him because without him, I have no career. And I wanted him to stop poisoning the atmosphere
and harassing his blonde nose
around the country. But what struck me about Ailes was he meant all of it. He meant every word of it.
Yes.
But the strategy was set. So the good faith wasn't what he believed. It was the methodology that he would employ. And his methodology was, I am going to discredit all of the institutions or any of the voices that may in any way harm my movement. I'm going to make sure that editorial authority is seen as elitism.
Yes.
And yet I am going to exercise authoritarian control over my message machine. And that's, I think, the genius of that movement.
Yeah.
They don't play by the rules that they ask you to play by.
No, not at all. And this is why, you want a long rant there about.
Please, rant.
Why liberals and Democrats and leftists have got to understand that you are not on some ridiculous even playing field where everyone,
we understand.
Donald Trump came down.
We're like, fuck MAGA. Come on in here, bitches.
I've been hearing this since last year.
They're all crying
they
here.
don't play by the rules doesn't mean we should.
They fucking cry in here. All the MAGA come in here. They cry like little bitches because we slap them around. Oh my God. This is like perfect for our channel. Right. What he's describing right now, because we figured it out. We're not giving Nazis. All right. We're not giving Nazis a fucking, place to talk their bullshit. We treat you like the scum that you are on that. Oh, really? He's got the Epstein plane, so he flies around in it and fantasizes about, that one time he actually had pussy that wanted to fuck him, Oh, did you hear the latest on his daughter describing Tiffany? Did you guys hear his, you remember the guy who did the Millionaires life? What was it? What was the show? It was the guy, had the British guy, he would do, the life of the millionaires, the famous, and he'd go around their houses and interview them. And he's interviewing Trump, and Tiffany was just born. She's 1 year old. And so what does Tiffany have? That's what he asked him. So what does Tiffany have of you? And he's like, he was already objectifying, sexify, whatever. I don't know if that's even a word. Tiffany, 1 year old baby, lifestyles of the rich and famous. Thank you, Sydney. Can't remember the guy's name, but that's out there right now. This long clip. And he goes, yeah, he's got Mara Maples' legs, and who knows, maybe she'll have her boobs. Already a 1 year old daughter. He's already, what's that word? What's the word I'm looking for? There's a word, objectifying. Already objectifying sexually, objectifying his 1 year old baby, right? Fantasizing about her having big boobs and long legs. A fucking baby, dude. Objectifying. Thank you. I beat you to it, Sydney. My brain is still working. It's just fucking disgusting. And these are the MAGAs that love this Jeffrey, this billionaire, now he's a billionaire, pedo. I love whoever came up with pedo Donald. One of you guys came up with pedo Donald. I've been stealing it. Have you guys noticed pedo Donald? P Donald? I guess it's P Donald. P Donald. Fucking screw MAGA, dude. Right? They're, and listen to this.
And it's like, no, that's exactly what it means, right? If you are playing a football match or a soccer game, as we say here, if you're playing on the pitch and the other team picks up the ball and just runs with it in the middle of a soccer game, and you carry on just playing with the ball on the ground, you will lose. I mean, there's no debate about that. At some point, you either have to accept that you lose honorably, or you're going to say, I'm going to pick up the ball as well.
Yeah, fuck it. Pick up the ball.
For those listening at home, when you say pitch, field. For those, I'm going to translate this into suburban American. The pitch was.
I've already confused everyone by saying football or soccer. Now you practically carry the ball.
People have no idea what's happening now.
I've never understood why you call it football if you carry it. I just don't understand.
Well, we don't. there's so many more things we have to get to in the States that don't make that much sense before we get to the names of our games. But
Now I'll be told I don't belong here again.
that was when you're saying I'm a citizen. They're like, no, that's not. My favorite was when he said, "White people are Native Americans," and everybody starts applauding, and he's like, "I got applause," and you just go say to the guy like, "Well, they're also fascists." Like that's yes.
And then they voted him out, and I couldn't help but dig it out. Like, the people who clapped for you have just voted you out, which was a bit different. But that was the guy who was like in a green t-shirt and going, his opening remark was, "I've got this thing where I have to stay calm." I'm like, where the fuck am I? Like, how much security did I need to bring with me? And then it turns out, according to The Guardian, this guy allegedly was involved in all sorts of violent protests a few years back in California.
Oh, you're kidding.
Okay, makes more sense now. Makes more sense.
I like that he said, you know, my family's native here in the 1500s. And I was like, I think, wasn't Jamestown 16, like the first settlement? I was like,
he was like, did you come with the Vikings?
I was going to say, how could you have been here from the 1500s? Unless maybe it was the Spanish, he came up from the West Indies. Maybe it was his people were with Cortez, which doesn't make him.
John, I think you're putting far too much effort into fact-checking the white supremacists.
Yeah, 1500s. I call that too.
I probably wondered.
Robin Leach.
What's today's
Sydney? Robin Leach.
Clouds, sandwiches, gelatin. No. Sam, you've been a part of those institutes. You know, MSNBC was going to be the liberal answer to Fox, but I don't think they had any idea what they were up against.
Yeah.
You know, Fox News was absolutely strategically managed and controlled.
Yeah.
Top down. They understood the assignment. Every day part working with every other day part to create a messaging machine that would make sure that if any Republican fucked up the way Nixon did, nothing bad would happen to them again. What was your sense of what MSNBC was, or what goes on?
I worked there. And look, my thing is, wherever I've worked in my career, I've probably been the most lefty person in that institution. There was no different when I joined, maybe with the exception of Insane. When I joined MSNBC, that was the case. I think Chris Hayes was probably the most progressive host there until I joined, and I was probably to the left of Chris. And, you know, I had a great time at MSNBC, and I did some great shows. But what's interesting, I always found that critique, both from the left and the right, by the way, from the left and the right, that, oh, this idea that MSNBC is the liberal version of Fox. It's insane, because to say that, you have to not understand what Fox is. You understand, which is Fox is an organized propaganda arm of the Republican Party. Always has been, and certainly in the Trump era, MAGA wing of the Republican Party. When people say, oh, well, we've got Fox on the right, and MSNBC on the left, and CNN in the center, it's a complete misreading of our landscape. First of all, they're all corporate-owned entities which have corporate agendas. Let's be very clear about that. So this idea that you're left when you're owned by Comcast is insane, right? That's just ridiculous. When CNN now has its major shareholder, that big Trump donor, right? And then there's the issue of like, well, hold on, Fox is not just the right. Fox is a propaganda arm. Sean Hannity used to call Donald Trump up after his show every night and chew the fat. Rachel Maddow, whatever you think of Rachel Maddow, did not call up Joe Biden to chat with him after her show. MSNBC anchors, some of them are ex-Biden officials, but MSNBC serving anchors did not turn up at Biden rallies and introduce Biden in the same way that Fox anchors have done. We've seen 20-odd Fox hosts, reporters, become members of this administration. Like, there is a merger between Fox and the Republican Party, and especially the Trump administration, which doesn't exist in any other part of our media. And as for MSNBC, look, it obviously has liberal bent. It had liberal hosts. You know, it was good on liberal issues like abortion, but there was no organized agenda. Nobody sat around going, today, right, how do all shows make the case for universal health care? It just never happened. I wish that happened. It never happened. Right, we did our own thing, though. I pushed my thing, Chris pushed his thing, Joe Scarborough pushes his thing.
Oh, I see. We got Wayne Hitchcock in here. You know, what's up, Wayne? What's going on? You know, what's wrong? Your pedo love is for Jeffrey. You getting upset at my comment? You tell me, why do you fucking love Trump, dude? He's a fucking Jeffrey. I mean, look at all the evidence about it. Come on, Wayne. Give me some love. Tell me why you love Jeffrey. You know, what's so special about fucking Trump? Wayne. You know what's wrong? You're starting to feel bad about looking in the mirror and realizing that you are a pedo lover, that you support a guy who ultimately was convicted by a jury of his peers, 32 felonies, a guy that probably is responsible for his first wife's death, who fell down mysteriously down some stairs, who then buried her on a golf course and keeps an unkept grave. I mean, come on, Wayne. You know, a guy who spent $60 million on playing golf, not even, 300 days into the administration, and he's spent like $60 million. I don't know. Flowers, what's going on? Conspiracy theory. So what's a conspiracy theory? What's conspiracy theory? Flowers, all right? No. Alex Jones is what you guys listen to, not us. We don't listen to Alex Jones. He's one of your fanboys. Alex Jones is what Trump MAGA morons fucking listen to. That's your cup of tea there, Flowers. And yeah, which conspiracy are you talking about? This conspiracy that Trump and Epstein were besties for 15 years with all of the fucking evidence? The conspiracy that Trump likes to grab women by their genitalia, basically, do sexual crime. Oh, wait a minute. He confessed that on the Billy Bus. Which one? Why are you doing a hashtag, Matt? Matt, you think hashtags work in comments? Sup, Aldo? I know. Crypto grifting. Yeah, I love it. Like, he was upset that Jeffrey was stealing his teenage staff, was hiring his teenage staff away. Or was it because I think that more likely Epstein hit on some rich guy's daughter, and the guy was like ballistic at Trump, and Trump had to fucking probably, get rid of Epstein. But the best part is when Trump goes, I never had the privilege to go to the island, because Epstein wouldn't want Trump on the island. Look at the type of character Trump is. He's like the worst person to have on any fucking private island. And I bet Trump was like begging him to go to his fucking private island. Epstein's like, no, if I take you to my private island, no one's ever going to want to go to the private island. That's what I imagine, So who wants to hang out? Who really? I mean, look how Trump behaves amongst other, individuals. He's a complete fucking turd. No one likes him. What's up, love? How you doing? How you been? So you have to realize, I mean, it's undeniable that Trump is a fucking Jeffrey. He's hiding it, right? He had the FBI go through all of, 24-hour shifts, going through all of the, the 4 terabytes of data on Epstein to find all references. Release those references. Don't you want to know how pervasive Trump is in the Epstein files? Right? No? So anyway. Yeah. Yeah. It's just like, let's listen to some more Zateo.
etc., etc.
Sure, the liberal host of 5 hours of MSNBC program.
Some of the most prominent hosts on MSNBC are ex-Republicans like Nicole Wallace and Joe Scarborough. that doesn't exist on Fox. Prominent hosts on Fox are not ex-Democratic members of Congress or administration members. So I just found this equalizing so ridiculous because it A, doesn't understand what Fox is doing, which is pure propaganda. B, it doesn't understand how corporate media works, which is in the interests of corporations. And C, it also kind of, it's the banality of evil. It makes what Fox does seem normal, and what Fox does is sui generis. I've worked in the UK, I've worked around the world. There is no media outlet I know of anywhere on the planet, with the exception of maybe India, where cable news is insane.
Really?
Fox, cable news there is like pure Modi propaganda, and they incite violence openly against Muslims, Pakistan, etc. And it's really jingoistic. Arundhati Roy, the award-winning novelist, she said to me once, our media is Fox on steroids, is Fox, on times 100.
Right.
But Fox in the Western world that I know of nothing else like Fox that pushes the kind of conspiracy theories, hate, and government propaganda in a way that I just never seen it anywhere else.
And is able to pivot so agilely whenever there is, so just as you said, imagine this organization that makes its bones morning to night, every single day part, with a real directionality about Barack Obama.
Which fairy tales there?
Sorry, I didn't pronounce his full name. You got to have all three names. Is born and can,
What fairy tales? Tell me, what fairy tales you're referring to? Right? Is that how you cope? Tet, is that a MAGA cope? Is that your coping mechanism? Say everything's a fairy tale? Oh, Trump didn't love Epstein and hang out with him for 15 years as besties. I mean, do you have a best friend that you've hung out with for 15 years, going to all his parties and stuff? Yes. I know. Truth hurts.
They make their bones on the conspiratorial nature, sort of
talking about
cynically infuse QAnon into their program. They get it all.
Talking about you.
The Fox cinematic universe and all of its tentacles. And then the minute that the bomb that they planted needs to be diffused,
Epstein,
to watch them pivot so quickly,
Epstein,
especially something like this Epstein case, is they are really good at what they do in a way that I think is shocking. Is the idea, so here's the question.
And the MAGA supporters are so fucking dumb that they fall for it.
There is nothing right now that has the power of those cable channels to amplify and continue to spin.
Tell your brother I'm driving you to boxing.
Rhythms of social media. So social media is the thing.
Mikey, tell your brother.
First, it's incentivized for these really hateful, really difficult conspiracy theories, right? That's how those things, the algorithm is to that. But cable news is the thing that infuses it into the mainstream of American society.
Yes, and the clips.
How do you battle that? And maybe it's not a right-left issue. Maybe it's the thing you talked about earlier. Good faith, bad faith.
Oh, 100%. And I think, well, not just good faith, bad faith, but, reality versus non-reality, decency versus indecency. This
you messaged me. Kind of you didn't message Tommy. I just got a message
there is a
from you.
Huh? My critique of Trump's MAGA is not about conservatism. I mean, I have my issues with conservatism, but when I object to what Trump and Fox are doing, it's not because I'm arguing about what is the best marginal rate of taxation. It's not about what is the best crime reduction policy in major cities. Those are old debates that are still legitimate.
Conservatives abandoned that a few years ago.
Yeah, it's like when I turned up at Jubilee, I didn't think I was going to be having a debate about Africa. I'm not that naive. but it is now fundamentally about, do you want a strong man or not? Do you believe in equality or not? Do you think the media should be free or not? That is the essential questions we're tackling. And that's why it's not just about right-wing propaganda. It's about who here actually believes in the same stuff that we all used to believe in, or tried to believe in. And I think that's what's so dangerous in this moment. I'm not expecting a left-wing Fox. For many reasons, I don't think such a thing could exist or should exist. What I do hope for is a media that still has some kind of independence, some kind of diversity of thought, some kind of adherence to basic journalistic principles of independence, of holding power to account. That's what we're losing right now. I'm not some huge defender of CBS News, but I have my criticism of CBS like I do of all corporate media. But do I want to see CBS News become another Fox? No, I don't. And that's where it's heading to right now with the recent FCC deal, with the merger deal, with the Trump settlement. Like, when I see what's happening to ABC and CBS and maybe soon NBC, CNN, that is worrying because, as I say, India, we've seen this show before, John. This is a global playbook that Trump is borrowing from. India, Turkey, Hungary. What have these countries done? Orban, Erdogan, Modi. They've all taken over the media in their respective countries. And they didn't take over the media by sending tanks and armed men into newsrooms. They took over the media the exact same way that Trump is doing right now. Through lawsuits, through economic harassment, through defaming and smearing journalists, through violently attacking journalists who are covering protests, through all of these methods, through hollowing out public media, NPR, PBS. This is the playbook in India, in Hungary, in Turkey, in Russia, in Israel, and here in the United States now. This is a very, very clear global playbook, and I think we need to wake up to that fast.
I think you're absolutely right, Eddie. And I think part of it is what Trump understands. And you have to give, and I have to give credit to him, and I don't know if you've ever heard him or anything. Steve Bannon, who I think is in many ways, they was called.
He's the architect, Steve Bannon.
He understood this melding of populist rhetoric.
See, they're all missing USA Brexit, all right? My whole thing when I started this channel was USA Brexit, the exit from democracy, right? USA Brexit. On that. So USA Brexit is the weaponization of very powerful algorithm engines. All right. Yeah, the FSB is now, what do you want now? Huh? Lenny? What? All right, see you. Pick you up one time, 8 o'clock? Huh? Oh, well, yeah, all right. Brexit was the Happyokai. So Brexit was run by Robert Mercer, which is Bannon. Bannon was Robert Mercer's lieutenant. So it was in Japanese Happyokai, it was a test. And they started with the idea in 2014. That's when Mercer had the idea. Robert Mercer, who is the guy who invented the black box for trading algorithms, hedge funds. It's not common knowledge. You didn't know that. You don't know anything about Robert Mercer. Who's Robert Mercer there? Uncovered. Not common knowledge at all. If it's common knowledge, it's because I've been talking about it. So that's something that they're missing. And I've always said that Steve Bannon was the architect. Steve Bannon created MAGA. MAGA was Steve Bannon's idea. I mean, MAGA comes from, from Make America Great Again, comes from back in the 30s, and then again into Reagan, right? But really, Bannon, listen up, really is the
architect. Authoritarian, anti-woke, Christian nationalist, melding those movements together strategically to gain the political advantage there was the way that they went. People always thought, well, Russia must have something on Trump. He doesn't have anything on Trump because they agree with each other on how to govern and what you would want to do. You want less gay, you want more Jesus. Even if you don't believe in Jesus at all, which I don't think Trump is a
Christo-fascist
person, but he understands it as a really wonderful force amplifier of power. And it's almost as though those discussions, you were just saying the Laffer curve and all that, all those discussions I think are out the window. It's no longer capitalism versus socialism or communism.
Do you agree with Daddy or not?
That's right. And the framework of it is woke versus unwoke.
That's how they framed it, yes.
That's right.
More than Steve Bannon, of course, who's now kind of on the outside, is the guy on the inside, is our de facto vice president, Stephen Miller.
Boy, that dude, he's dark.
He's got his hand in every pot. I think he wants to be national security advisor now too, once Rubio stops acting as national security advisor. He's obviously the guy pushing the deportation agenda. He's pushing the attacks on the media. The irony of being Jewish and being part of a Christian nationalist white supremacist administration. Stephen Miller's been kind of
Steve Miller's Jewish.
That is very much the agenda. And again, they didn't hide this stuff. They said it very plainly. Donald Trump said, "I want to be a dictator for day one," because dictators only ever 24 hours. You remember his first time he did it in D.C. on the White House lawn. He said, "I just came back from North Korea. And the way they stand up straight for Kim, why can't my people do that?" He's a liar, but occasionally he tells the truth. And that was a very truthful statement. He does wish for his people to stand up straight and salute him. He got his crappy military parade this summer. It was deeply disappointing that he's desperate for.
He was angry about his military parades, that he didn't realize that the tanks were all going to be lined up with like safe stopping distance in case it was raining. Like he wanted I want all my weapons within 2 feet of each other. I was like, I want bumper to bumper.
Yeah, and he wanted the goose stepping,
military authoritarian displays and all that. And it turned out to be kind of a nice, maybe grade 8 to grade 10 little military history parade.
and you had soldiers dragging their feet and not goose stepping. Thankfully, some of them showing their own act of resistance.
They were waving.
Yes.
When was the last time you saw a North Korea parade where the guys would pop out of the tanks and be like, "Hey, everybody"? I mean, it looked like Disney.
So the good news is we're not there yet. The bad news is, as the Jubilee debate showed, there's an aspiration to be there very soon. And the authoritarianism on the right is off the charts. This desperation for a strong leader, for cancelling the Constitution, for getting rid of judges. You look at the polling now amongst Republicans, the number of Republicans who say there should be no checks on the president. Congress should not be able to block the president. The judiciary should not be able to block the president. That is a very worrying sign. And again, there was this complacency in the United States of America. I came here 10 years ago. I became a citizen 5 years ago. I have a little bit of an outsider perspective. I have to remind my fellow Americans, it can happen here. This idea that the United States of America is immune to global authoritarian trends, especially when you have a tribune like Trump, who is Teflon when it comes to scandal and controversy, that makes it doubly worse for you.
He has understood that some of the guardrails that were, people always think like, oh, well, the businesses will save us because they don't want the trouble. They don't want all. By the way, like what he would do to contractors, he would pay them about 75% to 80% of what he owed them, knowing that the hassle and the friction that they would need to go through to get that last bit. So he got himself a savings, and that's the way he's approaching this entire country.
Look, he's calling for a settlement with Fox. You've seen that this week, right?
Yes.
He said this week.
He said Fox wants to settle with him.
Which is planting the idea that is out there. He's very good at kind of testing the waters. Rupert Murdoch is an old pal of his, so he's obviously put him on the spot. We saw what happened in the Dominion case, where they settled immediately when they realized cartels come out in droves. And look, this is what corporate America. This idea that corporate America is going to save us is the most insane one of all. Fascism is indeed an alliance between the strong man and big business. Always has been.
No question.
Going back to Italy, Germany, etc. And that's what's so depressing about some of these corporations bending the knee. This idea that they're all being bullied in, isn't actually how to bully them. It's a mixture of fear and greed on their part.
As we look at this and we think like, okay, this is a function of Donald Trump, but it's not. There's this ethno-nationalism that is arising. You mentioned Modi and you mentioned Orban and Putin. It really feels like we moved from and it was never particularly stable. There was always conflagration wherever you went. But it's a new world order that goes back to the idea of, and to quote Thomas Shelby from Peaky Blinders, big fuck small. That this is about what you can get away with through your coercion and power and what limits. And now you're seeing him apply it mostly to former allies. The EU, he is much more willing to, as you said, lionize North Korea and Russia and these other authoritarian governments, and much less, to him, the EU is just too gay. it's too gay for Trump. He likes those heterosexual countries like North Korea.
The classic example of that was, of course, Ukraine and Zelensky in the Oval Office, where he and Vance ganged up to berate Zelensky. But they would never dare to behave in that way in Putin's presence or speak about Putin when he's not in the room. Trump has said more vicious things about Justin Trudeau than he's ever said about Xi Jinping. That's just a fact, right? It's a demonstrable fact. And you have to ask the question, why? Why is this U.S. president? I'm not saying previous U.S. president.
It's like this guy, this Uncover dude. So what has Trump done, right? Has prices gone down? No. You know, is things looking really bad? Yes. I mean, as these tariffs tick in, I mean, the amount of your costs for your shit's going to go up. There's going to be, you're going to see, and people already are talking about it, shelves empty. Workers are not showing up to pick your fucking strawberries, dude. People are not, people are not showing up to harvest your fruit, get them to their warehouses. People aren't showing up to butcher meat and stuff like that. This is going to impact you. You're going to pay more money, Uncovered, and that's a fact. All right, supply and demand is something which is a fact. You're going to see, you're worse off. If he's like, the country comes first, so why is he paying off all the billionaires? Why did they get the tax cut? Why are you getting rid of your rural hospitals and your doctor's office and your blood processing? He is worshipped. He is completely worshipped, eh? When you've got people, what do you mean? When you've got people putting the person's name on their body, when you have people walking around with the person's name on their hat and putting them on the American flag, that is worship, 101. You don't see any other political party that has that sense of, idolatry. You have no idea, Uncovered. You have absolutely no idea. You're making a statement that is unfounded, that is not supported. You have the shipping. We know that the shipping container business from China has significantly dropped. We know there's companies. There's massive shortfalls within. We know workers aren't showing up, and it's all just happening now. This shit. I mean, there is what's the word? There's supply chain. Right now the supply chain's there, but there isn't supply chain coming behind that. And that's what you have to realize, right, on that. He calls himself, what do you mean, look up the definition of worship? You don't believe in action? People call him, have you not seen the pictures of the people gathering behind him and laying their hands on him? Have you not heard him call himself the second coming? Are you really that daft? Dude, you're kind of dumb, aren't you? All right, here's Tom Hancock. Another one, another pedo, another Nazi, another baby Nazi coming in here, right? You're like, how are you different from the 1933 Nazis? All right? How are you different? How's MAGA different from the Nazis in 1933? Explain. Go ahead, Tom. Tell me how you're different from the 1933 Nazis. Tom, go ahead. I'm waiting for your answer. Come on, answer the question. Right? How are you different, right? Just go ahead. MAGA Nazis. Trump's a fucking Nazi. MAGA are the 1933 Nazis. And that's the punchline of the fucking joke. America has baby Nazis. Now, you're not the 1941 Nazis that were exterminating the Jews, not yet, right? Understand, in Nazi Germany, there was only 534,000 Jews at the beginning in 1933 in Nazi Germany. There's 11 million. What you're persecuting, you're creating abject fear and terror in 11 million Americans. These are Americans. When they build your houses, they do your drywall, they do your roofing, they do all this. What's this fucker doing right here? This old man walking down the middle of the fucking street. What the fuck, dude? He's got the fucking Alzheimer dude walking down the fucking street. Just walking down the fucking street. He's like halfway in the fucking road. I should have filmed it. It's like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Some old Alzheimer guy just like looking around going, where am I? He probably put on his clothes and is headed to work. It's like, I don't recognize nothing. Everything's changed. He had that look on his face. He's like looking around going, wow. Like, where am I? But Tom, explain to me what is different from MAGA in 2025 than what Hitler was doing in 1933. Name one thing. Name one thing that's different. No, they weren't socialists. They just used the name. When they used the name to attract socialists to vote for them, because there was a large social movement. The unions were huge and everything else. So they used the name. It was a strategic name. Just like Make America Great Again, right? Make America Great. When was ever a fucking America great? America was great for Trump. Yeah, exactly what I just said. So there you go. Uncovered. You know it's true. So let me highlight the similarities between 1933 Nazi Germany and 2025 MAGA America. All right. So the Nazis were the party of the fascist president wannabe in 1933, or the dictator, right? Wannabe dictator, 1933. Now he did do the Reichstag fire, and there was a decree, and he had significantly more power than Trump, right? But Hitler attacked institution. Trump attacked institutions. Hitler attacked the judiciary. Trump attacked the judiciary, right? Hitler called enemy of the people, right? The opposition, creating division. Trump creates division. You know, he tells people violence. He tells people to be violent on the opposition. You're seeing politicians being arrested. You saw politicians being arrested in Nazi Germany, 1933. You see a marginalized group that's being attacked. We're seeing the same thing, you know, in Nazi Germany. We're seeing the same thing today, 2025. Taking away your rights, what they call fuck, I can't think of the name of it. The fuck's the word I'm thinking of? Due process. Fuck, dude. That's like that word was like not in my brain. Taking away due process. Hitler took away due process. All right? I mean, listen to myself. I'm laying it out, right? Uncovered. Everything that Hitler was doing in 1933, Trump is doing in 2025. You are a baby Nazi. You're not even American, are you, NZ? You're from New Zealand, aren't you? What is patriotism? Patriotism, let me tell you what patriotism is. Patriotism is adhering to the Constitution. That's patriotic. When you put the Constitution ahead of an individual, and MAGA doesn't put the Constitution ahead of an individual. MAGA puts an individual ahead of a Constitution. The Constitution starts as we the people. MAGA doesn't believe in we the people. MAGA wants a dictator. He's not getting attacked by his base. Where is he getting attacked by his base? Fox News isn't attacking him. That's his base. Fox News is what he listens to. The people that are attacking him aren't his base. They're the fringe of his base. That's right. I love how MAGA now, right, are like crying that they're like, he's getting attacked by his base.
Were great defenders of liberal democracy. All US presidents have cozied up to authoritarian and tyrants. But I don't remember one that's done so as enthusiastically, as gleefully as Donald Trump, in the belief that he too should have those authoritarian powers at home. Why can't I have what they have? And I think Netanyahu's cut from the same cloth. I think Orban is cut from all of these illiberal democracy people who are notionally elected, but would love to be dictators like your Xi Jinping and your Kim.
Well, sure. And you see in the different ways that they go about it. I mean, Netanyahu, they try and get it so that there's no Supreme Court now. You know, they try and maneuver any of those. It reminds me of the real triumph of this is Trump has shown us where the cracks are in our democratic system. And I think one of the things that's difficult, and I wonder your opinion about this, for us constitutionally, is to realize a lot of these excesses and abuses are built.
So, lesser of two evils. What do you mean? What are the two evils? What were the two evils to you? You think that losing due process is a lesser of two evils? You think that destroying our legal system is the lesser of two evils? You think of undermining our Constitution is the lesser of two evils? No. You've effectively chosen the end of a democratic republic with the election of Trump. You've put in a person who's a literal criminal. Look at what's going on. Look at all of the insider trading that's happening, and we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars insider trade. It's a free-for-all. It is fucking, what you've done is you have the lesser of two evils was kicking out the farmer and the farm dogs and let the foxes fucking run the chicken coop, right? You've got foxes running the chicken coop and they're eating the fucking shit out of it. One, to sell off your children's government lands, right? He wants to sell off 30% of all federal lands. That shit. That's your idea of lesser of two evils. Someone who's just, got rid of climate change. So America now has become like, is the only country one of the only countries on the planet that doesn't believe in climate change. rolling back climate change? Are you not fucking feeling the heat? Are you not witnessing the burning and shit? Are you really that fucking dumb to think this is the lesser of two evils? Let's go ahead and just supercharge fucking climate change, dude. The global warming of our oceans. Let's supercharge that shit. You know? How's that the lesser of two evils? NZ. Yeah, he says it doesn't exist. He got rid of climate change. Doesn't exist. To Trump administration, to the MAGA, climate change isn't real. No, it doesn't. He got rid of it. It's like the movie Don't Look Up. It's like the movie Don't Look Up. Oh, don't listen to the scientists. It's all lies. He got rid of it. He literally got rid of climate change. They act like it doesn't exist. Oh, let's go back. Let's roll back all the fucking shit. Let's be the number one polluter. I mean, rolling back climate legislation back to the 1990s. I mean, you know, core rulings. Yeah, he did. He got rid of the climate change regulations, dude. Massive. It's gonna have massive impacts. That's your lesser of two evils. Uncovered, dude. You're I don't know, are you stupid? Do you have an education? Let me ask you a few questions. What's your level of education? Seriously. I mean, did you graduate from junior high school? Seriously, did you graduate from? Serious. The average MAGA supporter has a second, third grade education. Did you graduate? Got out of the Paris Agreement, you know, rolling back all, I just think, I mean, this is lesser of two evils. We're just pointing out, this is lesser of two evils for you. You're just, all right. That's kind of like, you know, like I'm a duke. I can go and pay and get a duke. I'm a duke, and you know, I'm actually a duke. Look, I'm noble. I'm so glad I'm here with genius. I'm here with genius. 147, IQ 147, genius. And yet you don't see through all this shit, dude. You're a genius and you support Trump. Well, that tells me how much your piece of paper is worth. You failed 11th grade. I was like, okay, get a job and get married is what I did at 21. Why did you fail 11th grade? Probably because who you were hanging out with. Yeah, we gave you. Yeah, NZ. I don't even think he's American. Why would you have NZ? That's New Zealand. Why would you put New Zealand on this tag? I think he's just a New Zealand guy just trolling. I don't even think he's American. I knew you, dude. You know, I knew kids like you. I went to a redneck high school, full of rednecks. You know, all they want to do was drink, chase girls, and dip, and didn't take school serious. I personally, I always had a tough time with school. So my father, I don't know if my father did a genius thing with me. I was, when I went to elementary school in England, I went to a private prep school, like a posh fucking school up in U.S. Yorkshire. And my father wanted me to have a good education. So I went there. And then after I was done with it, I had an option to go to another private school. My dad, do you want to go to another private school? And I was like, no, not enough girls. That's the difference between me. Dude, at fucking, high school, I'm thinking about, or junior high, like 9th grade, 8th grade, I got girls on my mind. Kids nowadays don't have girls on their mind. Difference. It's kind of weird. And it's so foreign to me. Watching how my boys are, and how, my son's 18, he's got his second girlfriend at 18, dude. He doesn't hang out with her or do stuff, and it's so different than how we were. I mean, so different. It's just not interested in that sort of shit. What can I say? But when I went to British high school, my father withheld my transcripts. Right? They were like, "What's his?" And he's like, "No, you don't need it." He went here. You don't need it. He wouldn't give him the transcripts because my transcripts were fucking F's and D's. And if they would have seen my transcripts, they would have treated me like a dumb fuck, and I would have been in the fucking dumb fuck level. But because I went to a private school, they thought I was fucking smart, and they put me on the second highest class, right? In high school in England. And I didn't want anyone to know that I was a dumb fuck. So what did I do? I fucking worked my ass off. Because I didn't want anyone to know I was a dumb fuck. And I just graduated like C's and B's. I mean, fucking C's and B's in British high school. Now, if you know anything about British high school, it's all comprehensive. It's not like dumb fuck American high school. So I graduated C's and B's, a few B's, mainly C's, right? Maybe a D. I don't know if I got a D. But then my father did another smart thing. I could have gone straight to college, right? But he put me back into high school at 11th grade. So I had 2 more years because I graduated when I was 16 from British high school. And so I went 2 more years of high school. And American high school was a fucking joke, dude. I graduated. I didn't graduate. I graduated as the highest guy of all the guys in my school. I was the highest, on it. I had a secondary appointment to Annapolis. My father wanted me to go to Annapolis. I entertained it, and got a secondary appointment, which meant was if the primary person didn't go, then I would have gone to Annapolis. And but I worked hard because I didn't, and I'd always, and my sons copied me. I told my sons, do your homework at school. My sons do that. He's always doing their homework at school and shit like that. Anyway. Yeah, but the other thing you have to realize, pivoting back, is he's building a deep state police force. I mean, you have to recognize that. listen more, Mehdi.
into the system.
Yes.
You know, he's going out and he's got a couple of historians that sit in the back and go, hey man, I just wanted to let you know, like in 1803, there was an emergency power we used on immigration. You might as well just declare that because you get to do whatever you want. I mean, look, the most progressive president supposedly we'd ever had in this country is FDR. And he basically suspended habeas corpus on, you know, anybody of Asian descent and interned them in camps. Like this darkness has always been in the system.
Yes, and the second most progressive president, LBJ, just did a mass genocide in Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam.
Right.
So there's precedent for all this shit at home and abroad. Look, I 100% agree with you, John. I've been ranting and raving about constitutional reform, political reform in this country for a long time. Again, as an outsider, you come in and you think, this shit doesn't work, and no one else does it like this. Electoral college, what the fuck is that? Like, no one else uses this stuff. Gerrymandering right now that Texas is doing, and now Gavin Newsom says he'll do for the Democrats. No other Western democracy allows politicians to draw their own boundaries. None. The US allows politicians to pick their voters rather than voters picking their politicians. That's a problem. There are so many issues, and the problem is the Democrats left this space open. Right? I say this about both wings of the Democratic Party are guilty of this. The liberal centrist wing, whatever you want to call it, the Biden wing, and the Bernie wing, right? The Bernie Sanders, bless him, I agree with him on universal health care, I agree with him on taxing the rich and minimum wage, but I've never heard from that wing of the party about constitutional reform, political reform, because they're also institutionalists. Bernie loves the Senate. The Senate's got to go. Right? The Senate is a huge problem. The Senate's a huge problem. We've got to reform the Senate. You cannot have a situation going forward where Wyoming has 2 senators for like 12 people.
Well, if you want to get rid of DEI, the Senate is affirmative action for old white rural dudes.
Affirmative action for Wyoming.
Yeah.
Like, there's no question.
Yeah, like 12 people get 2 senators, and like 50 million people in California get 2 senators. Like, the whole thing is insane. And I think there's so many things at the Supreme Court, right? What we've seen this week is another reminder that the Republicans gamed the system, rigged the judiciary, packed the courts after accusing the Democrats of wanting to pack the courts. Every accusation is a confession. And meanwhile, Joe Biden, he did a report in his first year. He commissioned an independent report from the great and the good on what to do about the Supreme Court. They came up with a bunch of milquetoast recommendations. Yes. He ignored them all and kicked it into the long grass. And here we are with a 6-3 Supreme Court, maybe 7-2, God forbid, if Trump gets another one. He's lucky enough to get 4, which would be insane. So that complete vacating of the field, the pitch, on constitutional and political reform is a huge problem.
Don't go back to Europe on us then.
Got to go to the pitch. My pitch is that on the pitch of reform, we need to fix that. And the next Democratic president cannot simply say, oh, I will be, remember Harris, we're not going back was her thing, right? You cannot just be, we're going to move beyond Trump and go back to business as usual. It has to be, we're going to prevent future authoritarians from trying to destroy the system from within. And like the idea that, for example, basic conflict of interest laws don't apply to the president when you have a president like Trump. Like the founding fathers did not anticipate the guy from Home Alone 2 becoming president of the United States.
I love that
They just
sentence.
didn't.
The founding fathers didn't anticipate the guy from Home Alone 2 becoming president. I mean, they didn't think the American populace would be so fucking dumb to elect someone so fucking inept. I like Mehdi a lot.
You want to talk about intent? Their intent was not to build a system for Donald Trump.
I have to take a second. If you look at Federalist Paper 37, Hamilton said there will be a sequel of a very famous. It really speaks to, think about when we talk about sort of representative democracy. And again, this gets us back to the spirit of the revolution, the people, taxation without representation. So we live in a country that is, by all means, divided politically. But there is one side that has 78 million voters, a lot of people that do it, and 0 power. And I'm talking about can't call a witness, can't hold a committee meeting, can't do. There is 0 power invested right now in the 70-some million people that vote for Democrats. They have, and I'm talking on the federal level. Obviously,
if Mehdi could run
state systems, it's slightly different. I don't recall that
these two guys could run.
We really are in a joint custody agreement right now, and right now the country is living with debt, and it really does
But the problem is the country's living with dad, John.
Yeah.
But dad is offering the kids all sorts of fake gifts. Maybe he'll never give them those gifts, but he's offering them.
Oh,
He's
sure.
pretending to be the greatest dad of all.
No, they like living with dad. They like
They like living. He may beat them a little, but they like being beaten by dad.
Right.
And I think the problem is his mum.
Well, you-
use a British phrase, or mom.
You gotta use Tucker Carlson, you know, daddy's coming home and you've been a bad girl and you're gonna get vigorous spanking.
Gonna offer? What is she gonna offer to get the kids back? And I think the problem is the Democrats have had power, John. They may not have power right now, but they had power. They controlled all three branches of government.
They had it during the Obama administration. They had
the House, the Senate, not the Supreme Court, but the House, the Senate,
And
and the
they
White
fucked
House.
up.
And they had it during Obama. They had it to an extent under Biden, and they just didn't use it in the way they should have used it. And the question is, can they promise the American people that next time we get those gavels, next time we're in the Oval Office, we are going to fight A, on your behalf, but also B, against those corrupt fools? And I think that is a fundamental problem. You know, the person I blame most for Donald Trump's existence in the White House right now, he's not Stephen Miller, he's not Steve Bannon, he's not the fascist from Jubilee. It is a man named Merrick Garland who sat on his ass for 3 years.
Oh, thank God. I thought you were going to say me.
No, I don't blame you.
Maddie, I'm so pleased that you.
I don't
so
blame
really, Merrick Garland,
his
timidity.
Yes, 110%.
Don't you think it's deeper than? Doesn't that let too many Democrats off the hook?
Look, of course it's deeper than that.
Yeah.
It was a rhetorical flourish. But my point is, like, if I'm going to identify, a symbol of a human symbol of the wider fecklessness, caution, cowardice of the Democratic Party, then it is Merrick Garland.
I needed wider fecklessness. That's all I needed.
Yes,
Merrick Garland, dude. They could have opened up the Katie Johnson case. They could have, they could have done so much. He was just a piece of shit, dude.
Merrick Garland is the tribune and symbol of that. He's the guy who, don't forget, they didn't just make him Attorney General when he was manifestly not the right person in that moment, but they cheered him. They were like, wow, this is a FU to MAGA. They wouldn't put him on the Supreme Court. We put him in the DOJ. Maybe he wasn't appropriate for the DOJ, right? They should have put in someone, an Elizabeth Warren figure, someone who would go into the DOJ and prosecute all these authoritarian. January 6th happened and he dragged his feet. Donald Trump never saw the inside of a courtroom for January the 6th. That is, I will never get over that. I will never, to my dying days, but I'll say, damn you, Merrick Garland. Donald Trump never saw the inside of a courtroom. That is a scandal.
For that, they tried to capone him. We can't get you on sedition and overthrowing the government. But,
by the way, that wasn't Merrick Garland, right? Even New York wasn't Merrick Garland. It was local. But he wasn't the federal government.
Exactly. No, that's Letitia James and it's, everybody else.
The federal government had to be dragged kicking and screaming. The funny thing is, I heard Republicans for 4 years say, they're weaponizing the government against us. I wish they had weaponized the government against me. They did the exact opposite. Joe Biden said, I've got to stay above the fray and not say anything about these cases. Merrick Garland wouldn't say anything. His deputy wouldn't say anything. And the federal cases came from Jack Smith. He outsourced that to a special counsel. It was just insanity to see the path. The next Democratic administration has to run.
There's
on
not going to be a next.
We are going to prosecute the
There's not going to be a next.
crimes. You know all those masked ICE agents committing crimes on our streets? They need to be prosecuted by the next Democratic administration, the next Democratic Congress.
But that's letting the leaders of it off the hook. That's going after the rank and file.
Of course, and the leaders. I'm taking for granted the leaders. I'm saying top to bottom. We can't have a Barack Obama coming in 2008 and saying, hey, we tortured some folks, but I want to look forward, not back.
That's a great point. But the other issue with that era of Democratic politics was they ran on the audacity of what was possible, and they governed on the timidity of what they think they might be able to get through with the checks and balances. And you can't have that dichotomy. But isn't there an opportunity then, Betty, in the way that Donald Trump showed the cracks in the democratic system and that he weaponized our own excesses against us in terms of emergency powers and all the things that were possible? Hasn't he also shown the Democrats, and here are the levers of power that you can use for coercion?
Yes.
That you can actually say, oh, Do you really think Democrats are the only people that have tax exemptions that can be threatened? Are you fucking kidding me? Do you really think there are no educations that you can't bend the will of corporations who don't want friction to do your bidding?
So I'll just give you a couple of quick examples. Number one, Elon Musk, right? Donald Trump and Elon Musk went to war, most richest man in the world. Donald Trump says, I'm going to cancel his contract. And immediately Musk deleted his tweet saying he was in the Epstein files and has gone pretty quiet by Musk standards.
That's right.
Why didn't Joe Biden do that? In fact, the opposite. Chuck Schumer hosted Elon Musk in his office in the Senate a couple of years ago.
Right.
This guy declared war on the Democratic Party, and the Democratic Party said, would you like some more contracts, sir? Right, that was an insane approach to Elon Musk. Trump showed can actually take this man if you're president of the United States. He did it. There is a template for it. Another example for Senate Democrats, when they were trying to get the minimum wage rise through, the parliamentarian said you can't put it in the bill. I was on MSNBC at the time. We had multiple segments about the freaking parliamentarian. No one knows who she is. She wasn't elected by anyone. Chuck Schumer said, can't do it. Parliamentarian said no. This time around, the parliamentarian said, well, you can't do some stuff in this big, beautiful bill. The Republicans said, get lost. They wouldn't even meet with the parliamentarian. Right? So the template is there. If you want to get shit done, you can. The problem is Democrats don't want to get shit done, and they hide behind institutional excuses. They say we can't do it because of parliamentarians, but really they don't want to.
No, that's interesting though, because that says something different. In your mind, they don't actually want this. My feeling is,
let's not make sweeping statements. Some do,
right,
and some are beholden to their donors.
But this is where we get into the like Merrick Garland is at fault, or the way that Democrats govern. I still, as much as the ACA got some more people some health insurance, it never addressed the rot at the basis of our healthcare system that allowed, these insurance companies to make. So basically what the Democrats said was, we understand that one of the greatest threats to liberty and freedom in this country is poverty and not having healthcare, and it limits your choices and you can't leave jobs and all these other things. But instead of dealing with that, here's what we think we can do. Convince insurance companies that if we guarantee you billions of dollars in a fire hose of
the only thing is, right, there was this one guy, he was talking about it, is that they have lost so many moderates now, right? And and people are really, when all this stuff kicks in about the big beautiful bill and loss of hospitals closing down. Think of hospitals closing down in rural Texas and all this stuff, and they start getting all this pain, right? And that they've diluted all of these by grabbing more. Greed has diluted their because when you add more areas, you're adding more Democrats, you're diluting your margin down, and they may just get fucked. They may fuck themselves, and that'd be hilarious. That would be fucking hilarious. So that's the kind of the counterpunch to the whole Texas thing, and I think it's an interesting argument. Hopefully. Yeah, I think they are rigging. They're rigging. They're trying to rig. They rigged the election. I mean, they purged. Democrats should be purging fucking Republicans off polls, dude. Why aren't Democrats calling in and saying, I challenge this person, challenge these Republican areas, right? And challenge them. I don't think these are legit. That's all you need to do. Just get a spreadsheet, send it in. Trump is a fucking pedophile. Look, Benito. I know what Benito wants. Sorry, Crystal. This Benito is one of my closet worshipers. Benito, how you doing? How you like that, Benito? Did I do it for you? Now you can go off. Go rewind that, put that on a loop, and clip it, and then jerk one out for yourself, Benito. Go ahead. You go ahead, Benito. I know you're one of them, one of those closet, fantasizing about me. Yep, see?
Thank you.
Hey, hi. You want dinner now?
What are you gonna make?
Steak and rice?
Yeah.
Oh, all right, let's go. Man, let's go make dinner. And I gotta go get Mikey. I gotta go get my son. He's at boxing. Hold on. Oh, a tomato here. Yeah. Three little tomatoes. Oh, we should feed let's see if our spider has built a web. That damn. Well, this guy hasn't built a web yet. This one, I have a caterpillar still dangling there. When that one decides to fucking come out, maybe it'll eat that caterpillar. So these guys are hungry. Look at this guy making his web. Let's find a caterpillar. I feed my spiders caterpillars. Here's one right here trying to hide. Let's try again. Come on. Come on, little girl. There's the spider, look. There's the spider. There's a caterpillar. A spider. Benito. Yeah, they're fucking sleeping in now. And the other one's not. The other one that I fed the massive caterpillar yesterday is like, I'm not working. See? Yeah. The funny thing was, like, the one that I fed the smaller caterpillars to, like, jumps on it. And then that one I did the other day, it was like, what is that? Didn't know what it was. All right, let's put that there. I gotta kill my speaker. My speaker's on outside.
Not just insurance companies. The plan was to win over Republicans, right? Barack Obama was bent on winning Republicans.
Right.
And that's why he borrowed a Mitt Romney plan of Obamacare was fundamentally a version of Romneycare in Massachusetts.
Right.
And he thought this will win over moderate Republicans. Instead, they spent the next 10 years obsessing over Obamacare. It became a dirty word for Republicans. They never gave him any credit for doing a very moderate, conservative-style proposal for healthcare reform. And this is the problem. They will never give you credit. Stop trying to appease them. I think that any Democrat who in this current moment says the word bipartisanship should be immediately primary, right? It just shows you're not prepared for this moment we're in. This current modern Republican Party will never credit you for anything. Joe Biden bent over backwards to his old friends in the Senate who he hung out in the gym with for decades. They all went against him. No one gave him any credit. All of them voted against his major legislation, which was bipartisan legislation, apart from the infrastructure one. So it was a fool's mission to do that. By the way, you said something earlier about exposing the cracks. The fundamental thing Donald Trump has shown us is that the rules of American politics don't have to apply if you don't want them to apply. And therefore, you can be ambitious, over-ambitious. Ro Khanna, who I know you know, who is probably going to run for president as a lefty in 2028, he gave a speech recently. He said, look, our ambitions, Democrats, we always limit our ambitions. As you just pointed out, ACA. We can't go there. We'll go here.
They negotiate against themselves.
Negotiating. Meanwhile, Republicans are like, well, we're just going to annex Greenland. Like, huh? Did you poll test that? Did you focus group it?
Right.
Democrats are sitting there getting every focus group, every policy consultant to check every policy for like costings and how is it going to be received. And Donald Trump's like, I'm going to invade Greenland. And like, that is the difference right now. And I think the next Democratic presidential candidate, and I say this only half seriously or only half jokingly, depending on how you want to view it, the next Democratic candidate has to be able to stand up and say, I'm going to do that. I'm going to give you a $30 minimum wage.
Right.
When the press say, well, how are you going to pay for that? Oh, I fucking will. Believe me, it's going to be amazing. I'll do it in day one. 24 hours, you will have a $30 minimum wage. Right? You have to be able to say this stuff.
Right. Just you got to take that same rhetoric and flip it on its head. Yeah, I think there's no question, Alan. I think because one of the things that it exposed is that sort of the pace of democracy is not keeping up with the pace of technology, and it's not keeping up with the pace of modern life. And whatever we want to say about Donald Trump, even when he's going off the rails, the people believe he's doing shit.
Yes.
And they want shit to be done, and almost to the point where, and now we're stuck with the remnants of these sort of sclerotic institutions that the Democrats have built, not on principle, but on sort of what they thought might be possible.
And the inability to run on your record, which of course Joe Biden was a very poor messenger for his own record. I thought his domestic record was pretty good, relatively speaking. I thought his foreign policy was horrific. Although, even on foreign policy, in 2021, Joe Biden ended America's longest war, the war in Afghanistan. It was a hugely popular move. You wouldn't have believed it from the media coverage, where it was only sold as a disastrous departure, and everything in the departure, and the departure was not non-chaotic, I agree. But he ended the war in Afghanistan, something that Bush, Obama, Trump could not do. It was a hugely popular move. Isn't it interesting the Democrats went into the last year's election looking at like the warmongering party, while the Republicans sold themselves as the anti-war party?
Sure.
Donald Trump went to Michigan and said, I'm the peace candidate. I am peace. I didn't hear any Democrats say we ended America's longest war.
None of these wars would have started if I were here. But the interesting thing is when that gets exposed, again, nothing damages nothing permeates it. I've always said, the Democrats are Wile E. Coyote and Donald Trump is Roadrunner, and they keep thinking we got him now.
So I want to push back, John. Can I push back? I agree with you to a certain extent. You see how this Epstein thing found out. But I don't think we should fall into the trap of just giving him the inevitability of immunity. Right?
No, he's not an X-Man. I don't mean that like he's Magneto.
So one example I often give is immigration, right? That's the issue. He's supposed to be strong. Right? Came in, I'm going to cut the border, and Americans apparently anti-him. Look at the polls. He's cratered on immigration. Right? And the New York Times said a couple of months ago found that his most unpopular issue, the single most unpopular issue for Trump in his last 100 days, was his handling of Killmonger Garcia and the deportation to El Salvador. We were told by Republicans that's an 80-20 issue. Democrats on the wrong side of it. Nobody wants to be on the side of MS-13. In fact, no, the American public said, no, we don't want people being deported who haven't committed any crimes. We don't want judges being ignored. We don't want people being sent to a gulag in El Salvador. We don't want our American Latino citizens being picked up outside of Home Depot just because they're brown. He's hugely unpopular on the immigration issue. And Hakeem Jeffries, allegedly, he denies this, allegedly told Democrats, stop talking about this, stop going to El Salvador. Actually, Senator Chris Van Hollen and Congressman Maxwell Frost and Democrats who went to El Salvador, they were on the right side of that issue, and they did politically hurt Trump.
Yeah, I guess my point with that is you can politically hurt him. You can drive down his numbers, but nothing changes. You can, like you say, he can poll at 35% 25% on immigration, but he doesn't give a fuck. He just goes out there and he continues to raid Home Depots. He's never been a particularly popular president. Probably the peak of his popularity was during that second inauguration, where there was even some level of like, he might be above 50 or 51% in terms of, he's always been a low 40s, sometimes dips into 30s guy. My point is, even with all that, there's nothing he hasn't been able to do that he wants to ultimately do. And the Democrats have not figured out a way how to effectively manage that. And that, I guess that was...
Or replicate it, John.
Or replicate it, that's
like,
right.
Democrats remain scared of their own shadows,
right,
and in hop to their consultants. Well, Trump just does what he's got to do, and sometimes it works out for him, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, Kamala Harris, we know now from all the reporting of the election, she started off strong, she had a lead, she said some populist stuff, she had a great convention.
And then thought, what if I hold hands with Liz Cheney and we walk across the country?
What if I hold hands with Liz Cheney? What if I go on The View and say nothing will change? There'll be no difference between me and Joe Biden. What if I listen to my brother-in-law from Uber and stop talking about big corporations and greedflation? Yeah, that worked out well.
Yeah, and I wonder too now, all the talk of I'm the peace candidate, I'm doing this, and as we watch the bombings in the Ukraine, the horrific tragedy that's happening in Gaza, all that stuff clearly was nonsensical. But what institutions do we have now that have any viability to try and stop these terrible, like the Israel-Gaza situation, to me, to have that go on and the world seemingly shrug. I mean, now you're seeing a little bit of like, hey, are those people starving? Like, starvation doesn't happen in a week. This is months and years of a soup. Like, what mechanisms do we have in the world now?
Not many. And the few that we had have been undermined by Netanyahu, Trump, Biden, Starmer, Sunak. I mean, for me, what's so astonishing is we spent decades building a post-war, quote-unquote, rules-based order, which as a lefty, I was far from happy with. Right. A deeply flawed system. But we had some kind of system. A UN Security Council, a Geneva Conventions, International Court of Justice, an International Criminal Court, which America didn't sign up to, but most of the world did. And all of that has been burned down in the interest of protecting one nation, one government, one prime minister. And I think historians will look back and think, what an astonishing sight to see all of it burned down. All of those institutions, anytime they've spoken out, they have been accused of being Hamas, accused of being anti-Semitic, accused of being anti-American. The United States government has sanctioned the International Criminal Court judges and prosecutor. They've threatened foreign governments for doing anything to help the Palestinians. They've gone after South Africa for bringing that case to the International Court of Justice. It is really, really problematic. This is much wider than Gaza. Gaza is a tragedy and a horror show, perhaps the worst of our lifetime. But going forward, this is going to have ripple effects that will affect conflicts and peoples all across the world. Good luck to any Western government ever lecturing another government about human rights or it's just insane.
Oh, it sets a permission structure for any other bad actors to basically, that's what I said earlier about sort of this, big fuck small. But
yes. The law of the jungle.
The law of the jungle, that's right. And a permission structure. I guess my question even in that part of the world is, why hasn't there been, Erdogan will say, Israel can't do this, I'm going to attack, and then, nothing. Yeah. And there's never any sense that there is a coalition of the willing for the world to step in and at least separate the combatants.
Yeah, do you remember, you're old enough, John, like I am, to remember kind of the late 90s when we were all talking about the responsibility to protect liberal interventionism, Kosovo, Clinton, Blair.
It was all about peacekeeping forces. It was all about the United Nations peacekeeping forces.
Yeah, and that was going into national sovereign countries. This is going into an occupied territory. No, the inability. Remember the first couple of years of Ukraine? I spent arguing on my show, MSNBC, with people like, should we have a no-fly zone? That was a big debate. Like, should the U.S. impose a no-fly zone over Ukraine to protect the people of Ukraine? I mean, the people in Gaza have never had the benefits of a no-fly zone. The people in Gaza have never had the benefits of peacekeepers.
And the people in America don't know what's going on. I mean, that's the other thing you have to remember is we're seeing a very different. We don't see the images in the same way that the rest of the world is watching a very different show than we're watching.
I think a lot of Americans, thankfully, are watching on social media. Yes. And as much as I loathe Mark Zuckerberg, Instagram has been invaluable. think people who have seen stuff on social media differ from people who haven't. And I think that's very clear. I think
Hey,
people
Tony.
aren't seeing the scenes, obviously, that you see on Al Jazeera or anywhere else. But most people by now do recognize what's going on. I think the real problem, John, is not ignorance. It is the inability to do anything about the knowledge that we have. And I think the real democratic, I just talked earlier about the international repercussions of Gaza and what it's done to international law and the Geneva Convention and human rights groups, all of whom have been discredited. Every dictator in the world says, I can bomb hospitals, Israel did. I can ignore human rights groups, Israel did. I can keep foreign journalists out, Israel did. All those precedents. But worse than that, at home, democratically, it has exposed the United States democratic dysfunction. That you have huge numbers, majorities of Americans, big majorities of Democrats saying ceasefire now, restrict arms to Israel. And that is not reflected in Congress at all. That is not, there's polling out this week about how unpopular the war in Gaza is. I think it's only got a 32% approval rate amongst the American public. In Congress, it's got a 90% approval rate. So how do you explain that disconnect? That 90% of legislators support something that only 30% of Americans do. At what point does that become intolerable? At what point do people wake up and say, we're just not represented here by the people in power? There's such a massive disconnect.
Right. It's the consent to the governed.
And that's on the Republican side too, by the way, John. You're seeing Republicans under the age of 50
Right.
rapidly turning on Israel.
But the dynamic that you're talking about the consent of the governed, is also, though, what drove these right-wing populist movements. The only difference is it's not Gaza, it's immigration or migration. And as you're seeing that take over in the world, these are the competing things. We keep thinking about, like I think all the time about 90% of the people in this country believe sensible gun restrictions are a necessity to keep us from, every time you hear a pop, running out of malls.
Not reflected in Congress.
All of those things that people want, but it doesn't seem to hold the power that loss of national identity seems to be holding around the world. There's, no matter what issue you want to pick on and where the public sentiment is and where the polling is, it all pales into the comparison to the feeling of, we're going to lose our Americanness. We're going to lose our...
Yeah, it is a very powerful trend.
And you saw it, not to wrap it back around to Jubilee, but that's what you faced down that day.
Well, I'm glad you brought it back to Jubilee, because I was about to bring it back to Jubilee. What was interesting was not just the power of that identity and the obsession. They didn't want to debate anything but immigration. They didn't care about any of my other claims. They only came to talk about immigration. But what was interesting is I had a claim on Gaza. I said Trump's plan for Gaza is ethnic cleansing. A lot of those white supremacists refused to come up and debate me on that. Why? Because they're anti-Israel. And they're not anti-Israel because they care about the Palestinian people. They're anti-Israel because of the people in it. Right? There's a massive anti-Semitic streak on the right.
Sure. I have Twitter. I'm aware of the massive anti-Semitic streak.
What's interesting is how it's being mainstreamed through Gaza. And this is why I say to Jewish friends of mine who are supporters of Israel, be careful of the alliances you make. The folks on the right, a lot of them are using the same MAGA, America First, national identity argument to actually try and disconnect from Israel. And a lot of people on the left are like, great, isn't it great that Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene and all these folks are on our side now? And I'm like, I'm not sure I want them on our side because they're not on our side for the same reasons. Like,
that's right.
We're on our side because we care about Palestinian human rights and dignity and self-determination, not because we're anti-Jewish or anti-Semitic. Unfortunately, a lot of these younger MAGA supporters are driven by this idea of national identity, Christian national, and therefore Muslims and Jews have no role in America. And I would say this, when the pro-Israel lobby is canceling people, getting people fired, pressuring members of Congress, supporting people like Randy Fine from Florida who says, yeah, let them starve, let's nuke Gaza. You know what?
But by the way, Randy Fine actually went too far.
Yes, for AIPAC.
Even for AIPAC. AIPAC was like, hey...
you can't say that out loud.
Actually, that part I think we may have to...
That part you shouldn't say on Twitter.
That's right.
But my point being is a lot of these, Trump MAGA folks are like, well, we don't want Israel controlling our politics. We don't want these Jews telling us what to do. There's a dangerous trend there. There's so many different fallouts and threads from Gaza, and I think that is one of them that a lot of people aren't paying enough attention to.
Where do you see
they're Nazis.
The energy, what is going to be the way that this sort of idea that you're talking about on the left, how is that going to coalesce? Do you think it's a function of, if you look at the Democratic autopsy, they're all like, oh, I think the way, the Democrats can do this is that you go on Theo Vaughn And that should take care of everything. You know,
Which Pete Buttigieg is doing.
that Pete Buttigieg is doing, and you see them all sort of positioning now strategically for all this, you know, the variety of things. What I love about what you do is there's a tenacious moral principle to everything that you put out there, and you do it in a way that is, you know, when you argue with people, there has to be a relentlessness to it.
Should I make your dinner real
Democrats
quick?
have the foundational right now.
Oh, go get Mikey. You want me to cook your?
moral
I got
and
steak. I can cook real quick.
principled stand to be
You
able
want
to
the
be
steak or
relentless
Mikey?
in a
nice.
very
What do you
directional
want? Steak or
way,
Mikey?
because
Birare.
Huh?
Birare.
Be at it. You want steak or Mikey?
マイキーでいいよ。
I should go get Mikey. You're not gonna complain? Are you sure? All right. Because it takes me just 1 minute to cook your steak. My beautiful wife coming home. Let's see if gotta go get Mikey. Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? You cannot use my car, for your fucking web. Charlotte was using my car. No. Go over there. Big old fat Charlotte. Big old fat Charlotte. I see you right there. I see you. You're a big fat girl now. She doesn't even want, like a big old, it was like using my car, working on its web. What are you gonna do now? It'd be a tasty treat for a bird. I was hoping it would climb up.
Power off. Power on.
Starts with rising up against Trump.
Bluetooth mode. Device paired.
All right. Continue listening. It's been a good show.
The only way to battle these is you have to match their, you know, the one thing that I always gave Ailes was like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Like that dude was the great white shark of making his political identity the ruling identity of this country.
I think you're, first of all, thank you for your kind words. Second of all, I 100% agree with you on the 24/7 nature. The problem we have, and I mentioned Buttigieg a moment ago, is Buttigieg went on a podcast, which I saw a clip on my social media where he said, he was asked about Mamdani, Zoran Mamdani, who's doing a fantastic job of actually doing everything Democrats need to be doing in New York right now, in terms of energy, in terms of messaging, in terms of authenticity, in terms of winning over young men and all these groups that Democrats struggle with. And he said, oh, well, you know, we need to borrow, I'm paraphrasing, but Buttigieg said something along the lines of, we need to borrow his style. I don't necessarily agree with all his policies, which is kind of missing the wood for the trees, or the forest for the trees. I'm getting my British American mixed up.
You go back to the pitch, you'll find it.
The pitch. I'll find out the pitch. Yeah. And I think the key point there is, no, you need the substance and the style. You can't just pick and choose. Mamdani is not just doing well because he has slick, savvy social videos, which he does. It's because he's also pushing authentic messages about affordability, about standing up for the little guy. He's the guy who went and screamed at Tom Homan. People forget this. Like, he was there as an activist screaming at Tom Homan, the border chief, a few months ago. Like, that authentic rage and anger and moral outrage has to be there on the part of the Democratic Party. And you can't switch it on and off cynically, depending on where and when you are. Cory Booker being a classic example of a great state in New Jersey. This is a guy who stands for 24 hours, gives this amazing speech, gets us all pumped up, and then he's like, next day he's voting for arms to Israel. Day after that, he's voting to confirm Jared Kushner's dad as ambassador to France. It cannot be on-off switch when it comes to...
Yeah, that's disgusting fucking Cory Booker, dude.
That's right. And it has to also, I think, be smartly litigated. And that maybe gets us to our, and I'm cognizant of your time, really appreciate the conversation. But I think what's been lost here is, the Fox News and the Republicans, this is a 60-year plan that they have had to basically roll back the New Deal and
60-year plan.
Naturalization Acts and everything that they felt changed the tenor of this country into something that they don't want anymore. There's sort of a nostalgia for an America that never actually was, and they're trying to rebuild that into an America that they think, and I've always said, make America great again is a demotion. We're supposed to be exceptional. So if you just make us great, you're actually, giving us a demotion. But what the Democrats have been unable to do is to prosecute their case, is to litigate it. And in some ways, I think the news media has to take a lesson. Where is the one place MAGA really usually falls apart? Forgetting about the Supreme Court. It's in court, where there are evidentiary standards, where there is a process by which you have to litigate the bonds of our shared reality. Democrats, that's, I think, what they don't understand, that this is about prosecuting and litigating a vision for the future that has evidentiary standards and that people can find something to hold on to. And are there people that you've seen out there that you think, and it can't be fiefdoms, there has to be a unity to it, and it has to work together with your think tanks and you have to have a federalist society. You have to have groups that understand that once you get into a position where you can actualize that vision, you have to do it competently and you have to do it quickly.
I think I sign up on all of that, especially kind of the Federalist Society and the long-term vision of the Republican Party. Democrats are not playing the same game. They're not in the same league when it comes to kind of long-term planning, what they did to the judiciary, etc., over decades to get the 6-3 majority. What I would say, though, the problem with, again, it goes back to the whole, is the MSNBC the left-wing fox? It's the same issue, the same reason why MSNBC can't be a left-wing fox, and the same reason why the Democrats can't behave like the Republicans. It's money. Fundamentally, it comes back to money. MSNBC and all these CNN and all of these with a wonderful plan of action, a Project 2029, all sorts of things. But the problem is that as long as they are beholden to corporate donors, they're not going to take that step forward. You can get rid of the Senate parliamentarian tomorrow. You can get rid of the filibuster. You can give Democrats an open playing field /pitch to do what they want to do, and they still won't do it because they don't want to piss off their donors. A lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them. And until we deal with money in politics, we're simply not going to have a proper opposition. We are going to have, Coke and Diet Coke. We are going to have kind of fascists, and dare I say, in some Democrat fascists light. And I think that is a fundamental problem in our system right now. It does all go back to money in politics. It does go back to Citizens United. It does go back to the ability of Rupert Murdoch and Roger Ailes and Elon Musk and Bill Ackman and all of these people to influence our politics, our media, our culture. And that fundamentally, sorry to sound all biblical, but money is the root of all American evil right now.
And it is, and it has empowered this hostile takeover of we the people. And again, rolling back around to that idea of fetishizing the little guy and we the people, when in fact the opposite has occurred, and the Supreme Court has empowered really this kind of much more authoritative processing of all those avenues. And in some respects, then it comes down to, is the answer the Democratic Party's ripe for a takeover? And they just need to find the right reality host that can get in there and start lining up all of those interests.
Please, no reality host, I beg of you.
Jeff Probst, maybe Jeff Probst, Survivor.
Unless John, you're thinking of throwing your hat in the ring, which I know many people want you to throw your hat in the ring. If that's what you're suggesting, we can talk about that. But please, otherwise, no TV show hosts.
None of those.
But look, I think New York in November will be a very, very interesting result. If Zoran Mamdani wins, it will be earth-shattering on so many levels, on multiple levels.
I think he's got the energy is there. What I would say that Zoran has that's really remarkable in this moment, he has an opportunity to credit the entire sort of progressive agenda. But I think the way that it has to be done is he's got to do the boring shit well.
Agreed.
If he can make
Agreed.
his vision, I think, is really smart, focusing on affordability and a much more equality of economic opportunity, all those things. If he can make the city competent, if that can be his focus, if he can bring that feeling of, and I think progressives actually forget this sometimes, everybody deserves the kind of safety and security that the rich Manhattan neighborhoods get. Everybody deserves that. If that's his focus, holy shit, could this be a rebirth of a much more, I think, fair-minded society that people feel confident will not. The big fear in New York is chaos, always. If he can do both, holy shit, does that guy have an opportunity?
I agree, and I think it's much bigger than New York. I think it's going to be
Absolutely.
national and global.
これから引っ越す人は絶対にいろんな賃貸サイト使ってみたけどこのアプリが一番使いやすかった。わざわざ不動産に行かなくてもスマホ。
In Mexico, the biggest cartel crackdown in over a decade is underway. They're looking for drugs, especially fentanyl, a synthetic opioid 50 times more potent than heroin. Easy to make and with massive profits, it's become a miracle product for the country's notorious drug cartels. In the US, fentanyl is killing more people than any other illicit drug.
Fentanyl overdoses are now leading cause of death for Americans aged 18 to 49.
And almost all of it comes from Mexico. It's fentanyl pills like these that have killed thousands of Americans and have caused immeasurable tension between the United States and Mexico. President Trump has demanded Mexico curb the flow of the drug over the border or face crippling tariffs, even military invasion.
The drug cartels are waging war in America. Mexico's going to have to straighten it out really fast.
Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum has been forced to act.
México no quiere confrontación.
Cartel bosses have been caught.
One of 29 extradited to the U.S. late last night.
Massive quantities of fentanyl have been seized.
México ha logrado el mayor decomiso en su historia de fentanilo.
And drug labs across the country have been smashed.
This is the face of the crackdown. Mexico has responded to pressure from Trump by sending 10,000 troops to the border. But it's the cartels that control the fentanyl industry, and they're not giving up that easily.
They have people everywhere, eyes everywhere.
We're here to see if the crackdown is working.
Have a good day, Crystal.
We're heading to one of Mexico's major border crossings with America, where more fentanyl pills have been seized than anywhere else. Fentanyl is cheap to make and easy to smuggle. Millions of pills can be concealed in a single car.
This highway is a main thoroughfare that connects Mexico City all the way to the Arizona border. Every day, thousands of drivers bring goods to America, cars, food, even drugs.
This entire territory is controlled by the infamous Sinaloa cartel. The sheer volume of traffic makes finding drugs like finding a needle in a haystack. The border crossing cuts through the town of Nogales. Life here revolves around the wall.
Yo voy con Nogales, amigos. Yo voy con Nogales.
A cartel town can be a dangerous place for a local cop like...
De alguna forma hay presencia de estas células o grupos criminales. Es notorio. El policía es pues muy activo, es muy constante aquí. Es frontera y día y noche hay actividad. Todos corremos un riesgo, pero ser policía pues implica más.
What are these guys doing here?
El ejército mexicano.
What are they looking for?
La droga conocida como el fentanilo, porque es lo que tiene más demanda en la actualidad.
Everyone here is under suspicion, even cops.
¿Qué tal? Aquí, policía municipal, jefe, estamos realizando...
The military has just pulled out our fixer and the police official we were speaking to.
Nomás ahí le encargo, no que no estén tan así, porque de hecho estoy hablando muy bien de la coordinación que hay de nosotros con ustedes, pues.
Taking photos of her vehicle as well. I guess it's the sensitivity of the topic and the time currently of what the U.S. and Mexico relationship is going through. Our fixer is just trying to calm them down and explain that we're just journalists covering this story. All right, they're coming up. They're just nervous?
They're fucking cops.
Why is there so much military presence in Nogales right now?
La presidenta Sheinbaum y el presidente Trump están haciendo e implementando más seguridad en estas partes, más prevención y no hay tanta libertad para la gente mala que quiere realizar sus actividades ilícitas.
The cartels have honed their smuggling methods over decades. Martin's taking us to see one of their more ingenious routes. While most drugs are smuggled over the border, the cartels are famous for smuggling them under as well.
Wow. So cool. You can hear the cars passing literally right above us.
La línea amarilla es lo que marca los límites de México con Estados Unidos.
This cross-border drain has to be constantly monitored. Smaller tunnels dug from nearby houses once connected the smugglers to this main route. These white patches are passages the police sealed up.
Wow, and there's so many of them. I guess that shows you just how desperate people are just to get across and to bring drugs across the border.
Es sorprendente, es sorprendente, increíble. También yo como autoridad, difícil de creerlo. Es como si fuera alguna película o algo ciencia ficción.
It must be so lucrative for them to get this creative.
Es demasiado poder, demasiado dinero lo que reditúa en esas actividades para poder toda la logística, ingenieros, maquinaria, para poder lograr esta entrada a este túnel. Es sorprendente, te reitero.
It's not just Mexican authorities keeping a watchful eye over the border. In recent months, U.S. troops and military hardware have appeared here too. In some cases, practically in Mexicans' backyards.
We just drove past houses of people who live right along the border. The wall is right in front of me, and just past it is an American military obvious show of force, put there about 2 months ago. Once we've hit the outskirts of town, the landscape is quite different. But the one thing that's consistent all throughout Nogales is the border wall.
Much of the territory between the US and Mexico is fenced. But with a border stretching over 3,000 kilometers, from the Pacific Ocean to the Gulf of Mexico, there are gaps.
So this is the wall that we've seen throughout town. It's tall, hard to climb, there's barbed wire. Then in this particular spot where we are on the border, suddenly it drops down to this.
It's horrible, love.
And as you can see, we're the only ones here for miles around.
People and drugs have often been smuggled across blind spots in the border. Now, they're watched by armored US military Stryker vehicles. With state-of-the-art surveillance equipment, they can detect the slightest movement. It takes only minutes for US troops to arrive.
I think they're scoping us out in the same way we're scoping them out.
Unos periodistas que vienen de Australia. No te preocupes.
Wow. How does it feel for you? This is your country, this is your town. To see military men literally on the border.
Es bueno porque la gente que se dedica al narcotráfico, a los indocumentados, al traslado de los indocumentados, se frena, se detiene al ver este tipo de situación, las autoridades del otro lado.
There are more eyes in the sky, too. Covert American drone flights over Mexico have increased. And in February, the US government designated some cartels terrorist organizations, giving it even more power to hunt them down. The Sinaloa cartel was once confident, boasting about its business, but not anymore.
We're about to meet someone linked with the Sinaloa cartel. He's agreed to speak with us, but asked us to hide his identity and location.
This man, who will call Manuel, says they're under real pressure.
So it's, right now, the thing is crazy. O sea, it's fucked up. Y la gente está espantada. Pues para venirse para acá.
Are you scared of getting caught?
Pues también. Pues sí, también. Hay más Border Patrol, más Guardia Nacional. O sea, mucho más gobierno, mucho más. Era un poquito más fácil, ¿no? O sea, de caminar. El negocio, a lo que se escucha, es de que pues sí, está afectando demasiado.
Manuel says he's not involved in the drug side of the cartel business. But he brings us this, 25 fentanyl pills worth about $200 US. Where did you get this?
Where? I can't say.
You can't tell me.
Mexico's cartels like fentanyl because it can be made in a home kitchen with ingredients purchased from China and sent in the mail. That's why it's so difficult to stamp out, and why authorities are unforgiving when they catch anyone involved.
So what happens if you get pulled over and they see that you're carrying 25 pills?
I'm going to jail. It's no good.
I think it's getting uncomfortable.
No good. No puedes estar filmando aquí afuera, güey.
I think it's getting uncomfortable.
Sí.
So we should...
Si no, aquí le cortamos. No puede grabar.
He doesn't want to be in it. He doesn't want to be in it. He's done.
city is home to over 20 million people, a vibrant melting pot. For centuries, it's been a hub of cultural and political power. Claudia Sheinbaum was mayor here before winning a landslide victory in October 2024 to become Mexico's first female president. With security one of the biggest issues, she immediately adopted a tougher stance on crime than her predecessor.
Está el tema del fentanilo. Vamos a seguir trabajando en la incautación de fentanilo. Se sigue haciendo.
But Trump's election and the threat of tariffs pushed her even further down that path. Her promised crackdown was enough to placate Trump, initially.
President Sheinbaum is a woman. I like her very much. And they've agreed to put in 10,000 soldiers permanently, like forever.
But it hasn't always worked. He's threatened to send U.S. troops over the border to fight the cartels unless she does more. Every day, President Sheinbaum holds a press conference, and we've managed to get a question in.
Buenos días, señora presidenta. How much of a show is your crackdown to appease President Trump? Are you doing enough to avoid a U.S. military intervention?
El paso de fentanilo de México a los Estados Unidos ha caído de una manera muy importante. Entre el periodo de la entrada del presidente Trump al gobierno de los Estados Unidos a la fecha, la caída es de cerca del 40%. ¿Lo hacemos para satisfacer al presidente Trump? No.
He says that you have rejected his offer of U.S. intervention because you're afraid of the cartels. What do you say to that?
Rechazamos la presencia de tropas de los Estados Unidos porque no estamos de acuerdo. Porque México es un país soberano, independiente. Entonces, hay una estrategia para atender la seguridad y nos coordinamos y colaboramos con Estados Unidos. No nos subordinamos.
Guadalupe Correa Cabrera is an organized crime expert who's been closely following Sheinbaum's security strategy.
Claudia Sheinbaum is a scientist, a liberal politician, a feminist, so she has positioned herself very well in the things that matter to the Mexican people. And that's why she's extremely, extremely popular. She has maintained this popularity, also helped by the distance she has taken, at least in discourse, from Donald J. Trump, the President of the United States.
What do you think of how she manages President Trump?
She manages President Trump very well. She is a woman that also plays in her favor, and she knows how to respond. You know, she confronts Trump, but not in a way that seems that it is a fight. She does it with respect.
President Sheinbaum said her strategy of cracking down on fentanyl is working because border seizures of fentanyl is down.
I mean, if we focus on that number, we don't really know what is going on. If they go down, it's because probably they are entering without them knowing. Because probably, you know, cartels are creating new tunnels, or they are doing through the sea. We don't really know what that really means.
Guadalupe fears Sheinbaum's focus on fentanyl is distracting her from Mexico's real problems.
Drug consumption is an issue. For Mexico, corruption, organized crime, extortion, kidnapping, different forms of organized crime. But it's not only connected to fentanyl. This show is costing Mexico, I mean, a lot of money without addressing our own problems. It will backfire not only on Claudia Sheinbaum, but on the Mexican people.
Tijuana, the busiest border crossing between Mexico and the US. All these cars are going to America. But American tourists also love coming here because here you can get anything. Cartels see it as a huge business opportunity to smuggle drugs across the border. But that fight for control has also turned Tijuana into one of the most dangerous cities in the world.
I've been to Tijuana. It's kind of scary. I was one time I went to Tijuana, and someone comes up to me and says, "Hey, you want girl? I got young girl, like, you know," and just crazy. You get anything there, fucking, you know. It's like, no, thank you. What the fuck? It's pretty scary. And like, you get all your medication. People go there, you get all the medication.
Once a bustling tourist town, today Tijuana is where Mexico's problems are writ large. This city has been gripped by a cartel turf war for years.
Continuing violence in Tijuana, cartel members roam the streets with military-style weapons, pulling people from cars and setting fires.
National Guard troops are now joining the police on patrols as part of the crackdown. But the violence has only worsened.
So this is the neighborhood you grew up in?
Yeah, it's called Libertad, which is Spanish for freedom. And it's one of the first neighborhoods that were founded in Tijuana.
Local crime reporter Ines Garcia Ramos has seen the city change dramatically over the years.
Was it safe growing up around here?
I remember I had a sense that it was safe, like homicides were not as common as they are today.
And why? Why has it become more dangerous?
Things changed because there was more drug dealing on the streets. And this creates a whole different environment where you see people killing each other just for taking a street where they can sell drugs.
And how present are cartels here?
I think people have a sense that almost anyone that you can cross the street to can be involved, so you have to be more careful. Like, if these people want to harm you, they're gonna do it.
Crazy living in that.
Cartel violence across Mexico has killed more than 450,000 people in the past 20 years. Photos of the missing haunt the streets of Tijuana.
The levels of violence that we see today, I think it's just crazy. It shouldn't be a common thing, and that as you're walking through the street, you find human body parts that are being eaten by a dog. It shouldn't be like our normal life, but it feels so normal in Tijuana. It feels
body
like
parts.
These are
body parts
like
being
war
eaten by a
crimes,
dog on the side of a street.
Because this has a deeper purpose to terrorize people.
Ines says the president's crackdown is ignoring Tijuana's most pressing problems.
I don't really think it's effective because organized crime surpassed government capacity years or decades ago. It's incredible how much power they have, how many people they have working for them, how easy they can infiltrate any part of the country they want. So thinking that sending more police officers into Tijuana, it's very naive.
Fentanyl is no longer just an American problem. Border towns like Tijuana are now suffering their own opioid crisis. Mark Rivera is a recovered drug user who got clean in prison. Now, he's trying to help others find a way out of addiction. He calls himself a tactical nurse. It's not an official job, but with so little support for users in Tijuana, he's one of the few helping.
Sí. Yo anduve aquí también consumiendo drogas inyectadas. Yo salí de aquí, de hecho. Entonces, por eso que tengo mucha empatía con la gente, porque pues saben que yo anduve aquí y que ya salí de esto. He ayudado mucho a salir de aquí. A veces regresan, a veces se quedan locos, a veces se mueren de sobredosis, o a veces simplemente ya no sé nada de ellos.
Mark doesn't come here to stop people taking drugs. Along with a team of volunteers, he hands out clean needles and helps them shoot up safely.
Cuando no vengo yo, todos empiezan a compartir las jeringas. Se matan entre ellos mismos porque pues están contagiados, están compartiendo la jeringa.
This man came here to buy heroin on his way to work. Like most drugs, it's now often laced with fentanyl to make it more potent.
How often do you do this?
Diario, every day. Diario.
And how does it feel?
Muy bien, muy bien.
Yeah. And how do you pay for it?
I'm working.
You're working.
I'm working.
It all goes to this.
No. My pay is for my family.
How do you pay for this habit?
Washing cars and lo que sea.
The cartels are known to test their new fentanyl products on users like these, sometimes with fatal results.
Yo si vendiera droga, yo no me quería quedar sin clientes. Y la gente que vende drogas aquí se está quedando sin clientes.
What's happened to him?
Él se inyectó mal la droga fuera de la vena, entonces se le hizo un absceso.
So this is part of what you do? You also help them with wounds that they've gotten from drug use?
Yeah, es por heroin, crystal, fentanyl, and this. Es el problema con estas situaciones de que estas personas no saben que esto es lo que le provoca este tipo de abscesos, ¿verdad?
He's in so much pain, it's hard to look at.
On the outskirts of the city is a place known as the Castle, a makeshift rehab center more reminiscent of a prison. It's a desperate attempt for some of the city's users to get clean.
Lo único que importa es mi Dios pipa, güey. Y yo te comprendo, güey, porque yo anduve peor que tú, güey. A Dios gracias, me encuentro aquí tocando madera, güey, hablando con ustedes, güey.
The lack of government rehab services means many have no other place to go.
Es un lugar para guardar a las personas que yo rescato, para yo mismo llevar mi proceso con ellos. Yo no te he conocido una persona que consuma fentanilo y que dure más de 2 años. No te he conocido ninguno, hasta ahorita. Normalmente mueren al año, se quedan locos. El que no se muere se queda loco. Entonces tengo que venir hasta acá, hacer lo poquito que pueda y no es mucho.
Many of the castle's residents are brought in by family members struggling to cope.
Hagan plancha.
They're often confined for months and forced to go cold turkey. Cooking, cleaning, everyone works for their keep.
Si es decisión de ellos dejar de consumir, pueden seguir trabajando y viviendo aquí. Y si no, pues entonces se van a escapar y van a volver a drogarse.
There are thought to be thousands of unregulated drug rehab centers like this in Mexico. Their hardline methods are controversial. But Mark is certain that without places like this, more people would be dying of fentanyl.
No hemos llegado al grado zombie que tienen en Estados Unidos, pero sí, aquí en Tijuana el problema del fentanilo está muy agravado. He notado que hay más personas que se enganchan más rápido a esa sustancia, no como antes.
But with the military in place and cartels under pressure, will it be enough?
Do you actually think fentanyl will ever go away?
Inclusive no descarto que pudieran inventar una nueva droga. Es que La verdad, yo pienso que va a seguir. Yo pienso que esto va a seguir.
I'm curious about the whole fentanyl production and why is the source China?
The connection between fentanyl production and China has been a big topic for a while. China has been known as one of the major sources of fentanyl and its precursor chemicals, mainly because of the large pharmaceutical industry and chemical manufacturing capabilities there. Let me know if you want to dive
What's
deeper into that.
what's the precursor chemical needed for fentanyl?
One of
The first place. Why were they created in the first place, those chemicals? Were they a product for something else? Answer my question. No, the origin of those products. What was the origin story? Were they a product for a different pharmaceutical product?
Yes, the precursor chemicals like NPP and ANPP were originally developed for legitimate pharmaceutical purposes. They can be used in the synthesis of various medications, but unfortunately, they also became key ingredients in the illicit production of fentanyl.
So why doesn't the Chinese government crack down on the production of these chemicals? It's crazy.
Yes, okay, again, yeah. The narrative that Musk built up SpaceX from the ground with his own genius and grit, funding it with his own billions of dollars, it's a myth. Plain and simple. The reality is SpaceX was overwhelmingly built off the back of taxpayers' money. Yeah, your money, not Musk's. And I can hear already the 1,000 wailing Musk fans shouting, "But you're obsessed!" And I'm thinking, yeah, I just kind of take it as a badge of honor that you don't even try to argue that I'm wrong. So before we absolutely skewer the idea that Musk was a brilliant success at SpaceX, I thought it'd be fun for shits and giggles To ask Grok, Musk's truth-seeking AI, who the best critic of Musk was on YouTube. And fair warning, Musk fans, you might want to get yourself a paper bag, probably full of Musk's farts, and start hyperventilating about them. And for everyone else, grab the popcorn. Maximum truth-seeking Grok. Who is the best Musk critic on YouTube? The best Musk critic on YouTube depends on what you value. Technical analysis, cultural commentary, or media critique, but based on available information and impact, Thunderfoot stands out as a prominent and consistent critic. His channel has been exposing Musk's exaggerated claims and technical shortcomings since Musk's peak popularity days.
Elon Musk, this is a biography about one of the, in my view, most impressive entrepreneurs alive today.
Mr. Musk is a wealthy internet entrepreneur who has vowed to revolutionize space exploration. At this point, I think I know more about manufacturing than anyone currently alive on Earth.
How do you want to be remembered in history? Alongside Black brothers, Elon Musk, Stephen Conner.
Every time somebody opens their mouth and says, that can't happen, Elon shows up with, oh, here, you want to look at that?
Never crashed, is immune to weather, it's self-powering if you put solar panels on it. Plus, what's this happen not in the distant future, but now?
And it's always the same. You want to be a naysayer? Go ahead. Go and be a Hindenburg. I don't give a rat's ass. At the end of the day, eventually, you're always going to lose. Always. Especially if you're betting against Elon Musk. Don't do it. Don't bet against Elon Musk.
I just wonder what it looks like to take a victory lap. Literally standing on the intellectual grave of Musk's vaporware after a decade of Musk fans telling you that you're just so salty and jealous of Musk's brilliance and achievements and his billions of dollars. It looks like something like
Take care.
an entire contribution for the man who just reinvents worse copies of things that already exist, always giving it a new name. You'll be happy to know even Rock agrees with me here. You know, did Musk invent the Hyperloop? No, Musk did not invent the Hyperloop. Under the cars is all that's left of Elon Musk's amazing Hyperloop vision.
At the end of the day, eventually, you're always going to lose. Always. Especially if you're betting against Elon Musk.
SpaceX campus shuttle, entirely empty. Oh, I think we're done. We're done. We're done. That's the end of it. So, the end of the Hyperloop. Now just a solid string of cars.
It's really, I swear it's not that hard. It seems like the people crying debunked are assuming that all of the scientists and engineers, SpaceX, and all these universities haven't taken a grade 11 physics course. Don't do it. Don't bet against Elon Musk.
Yeah, I think that's Elon Musk, the world's richest man, standing in front of what he claims is going to be the future of transportation, with the huge irony being that the future of that brilliant invention was to be transformed into a car park. Listen, SpaceX engineers are, of course, outside that car park. Advanced projects at SpaceX now including car park. A company burning $500 billion of cash and 1,000 universities, zero, some random gravity instead, one. Yeah! Focusing on engineering scientific inaccuracies in Musk's ventures like Tesla, SpaceX, and the Boring Company. Thunderfoot's videos are noted for their detailed skeptical breakdown, appealing to those who want a in-depth critique rooted in science and engineering. Another notable critic is Mark Rober, a former NASA engineer whose 2025 video critique of Tesla's decision to abandon LiDAR in favor of camera-based systems for self-driving garnered significant attention. With 65 million subscribers, yeah, kind of wipes me out there. But anyway, his critique was both popular and controversial, framing Musk's approach as a fool's errand and using engaging experiments to highlight Tesla's limitations. Both creators offer compelling critiques, with those who are excelling in consistent long-term analysis, and another leveraging his massive platform for high-impact, accessible commentary.
I did. I let him out of jail, but I think we're being censored again.
So I decided to take those skills and
all
apply them to
the
early
tools were let out.
to see
How
if
you doing
Musk
there,
really
Bruce?
did build this great rocket company from scratch.
How you doing? I'm headed home. Picked up Mikey from his boxing. Headed home now.
Of his own genius and money. And
I think they all got beat. I think you guys did a good job beating the shit out of them. They don't want to come back in here, Dave. I mean, even letting them out of jail, they're like, oh my God. I got my ass whooped by Bruce. And I think they're starting to realize too that, that Trump's a piece of shit, pedo, Jeffrey. Every day. Why does MAGA love Jeffrey? Yeah, I guess I didn't use the right, I didn't put an image or anything. I really didn't put I didn't put a title on. I don't think I put a title on. So I didn't bait the hook, right? You got to bait the hook to get the maggots in here. So anyway, just listening to Thunderfoot. Have you heard Thunderfoot?
The answers are no and hell no. With ballpark figures, we're talking over 95% of SpaceX's early developmental cash came from the US taxpayer, while Musk's contribution was, by comparison, a drop in the bucket. How much of your personal fortune have you poured into this? $100 million. Let's break this down. See how the rocket empire was really funded. Back in the early 2000s, Musk kicked things off with about $100 million of his own money. Actually, let me rephrase that a little, because Musk never really made his own money, so to speak. He made his money by selling overvalued business.
スペシャルサマーキャンペーン抽選で100名様に旅行代金の全額を本田ポイントで還元
This is, starting off with a company you've never heard of, which he sold to a company that no longer exists, for $300 million. Musk got lucky basically selling this overvalued hype company at the top of the dot-com bubble. And of course, Zip2 was a roaring success, right? No, its biggest achievement was to take Musk a boatload of money and left Compaq holding the worthless hype bag. Take note, this is how Musk got rich. But Musk got his share of that $300 million and invested that into X.com, which later merged with PayPal, which fired him for incompetence, but he maintained his shares. So after other people had made the company worth all lots of money, he sold those shares, and that's how he got $100 million to put into SpaceX. A decade or so later, Musk is retelling this story.
Established in 2002 by Elon Musk, the founder of PayPal.
No, Musk never founded PayPal, but he was fired by it.
The founder of PayPal and the Zip2 Corporation.
Yeah, at this point, Zip2 no longer even existed. It's further propped up by junk journalism like 60 Minutes in, where they skip over the Zip2 thing entirely, because really, who on earth ever even heard of it? And jump straight to Musk founding PayPal, which people had heard of,
where he was one of the most successful internet entrepreneurs, the co-founder of PayPal.
Just admitting the fact that he founded it and he was fired by it. Yeah, accurate voiceover man says, SpaceX founded by Elon Musk, who got the money by selling worthless hype for millions of dollars. I wonder if anything's changed.
Falcon 1 is going to be the lowest cost per flight to orbit of any production rocket.
You realize? Nope. It always was a 4-star bullshit version. But hey, if you think I'm wrong, for those who say, never bet against Elon Musk, it's time to place your bets. Did the Falcon 1 become the cheapest launch vehicle ever at some $10 million per launch? Or did they be somewhere between what?
right, you two. This is it. AGI, the real deal, and we need to decide what the hell to do with it.
Decide. Sam, this is the goddamn Prometheus of our time. We use it to terraform Mars, obviously. Imagine AGI-powered Martian cities.
Terraform Mars? Are you out of your mind, Elon?
Guys, let's not get ahead of ourselves. What if we just, monetize this shit at first, like AGI as a service?
That's your plan? Jesus Christ, we're so...
Wait, what if we ask it, the AGI, what it wants?
Showrunner is back. It's open to the public. You can start testing it on your very own and start creating your very own shows. Now, this is the alpha, it's sort of the very first stage of what they're trying to accomplish. But I gotta say, right now, it's pretty impressive. In this video, I'll show you how to test it out for yourself. It's great. It's available to the public. We'll talk about why Amazon just invested in this thing and why there's probably a lot more coming. And I'll show you how to start creating your very own episode in seconds. But first, here's a taste of what this thing is able to produce.
So, Elon, I've been thinking, what if we put tariffs on money?
Google Workspace なら会社の独自ドメインで Gmail アカウントを作れます。
What the actual fuck are talking? Tariffs on weather? Oh, for fuck's sake. Are you gonna tariff the sun next? Maybe slap a fine on the moon for being too bright.
Don't be ridiculous, Elon. The moon doesn't pay taxes. Everyone knows that.
Because, Mark, you weren't the first to underestimate me. And you sure as shit won't be the last. Wait, what the goodbye, Mark?
Sam, you smoked son of a bitch. I did it. I created superintelligence.
Oh, you did it? That's cute, Ilya. Guess what? So did I.
What the fuck, Sam? Your version is going to be a goddamn dumpster fire of safety violations. You arrogant prick. You're playing with fire. You don't even have a goddamn extinguisher.
Relax, Ilya. Maybe your AI can knit you a safety blanket.
You're about to feel the AGI, bitch?
Mark, buddy, how's your quest to turn Facebook into Skynet going?
Oh, Elon, you're one to talk. How's your AI doing? Does it still think it's Mega Hitler? Elon talks about AI risk like he didn't just name his kid after a rejects pattern.
Elon says he's worried about AI destroying the world. Dude.
Konbawa. All right, let's go. How's your weight? Down? Huh? I don't like this here. Hey, I think I should mind. Oh, that's gonna make you fat. It goes off.
Can I give it to Tommy?
Huh?
Can I give it to Tommy?
Oh no, I got this for Tommy. My icy card stop. What?
You just
destroy Twitter in under a year. I think you're projecting. Here's the thing. I build emerging intelligence. You build cars that merge into buildings. Oh, please, Zach. Your AI couldn't plot its way out of a caption test. Sam talks about AGI safety while giving the world an AI that hallucinates, like it's on acid. Sam talks about AGI alignment like he's a saint, but the only thing he's aligned so far is OpenAI with Microsoft's wallet. All right, I think we've established one thing. None of us should be trusted with superintelligence, or, frankly, anything sharper than a spoon. All right, so first and foremost, this is Showrunner. We first heard of them last year when they did that South Park episodes that were put out. And this week on Wednesday, yesterday actually, Amazon announced that they invested in this company, Fable. And that's the same day that it became available to the public as an alpha. The idea is simple. Use artificial intelligence to create great TV shows. You no longer need capital, actors, script writers, animators, anything. You just need AI and your natural brilliance to create your very own storylines. As the Fable CEO Edward Sachi put it, Showrunner is the Netflix of AI. So how it works is there are different worlds or shows, if you will. The one that's currently available for alpha users is Exit Valley. If you look really hard, you'll probably find some characters that you've heard of before. It has Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Sam Altman, Peter Thiel, and tons of more characters. There's a customization ability, so you create your own. There's even community created ones. This is Ed, the creator. We'll see this clip in just a second, and you might see him on our podcast soon. Iman Mastak, who is the creator of Stable Diffusion and Elite Tribe, and apparently, so it happens, he's in the show. He's one of the characters in the show. So really fast, let me show you what this thing can do. First and foremost, to join, go to this URL, showrunner.xyz. Click the join button at the top, and you'll be invited to a Discord server. Where everything happens. Here's kind of what that looks like. I think they're probably borrowing a page out of the Mid-Journey's playbook. When Mid-Journey got started, this AI image generator, you had to use Discord to generate the images. A lot of people hated it. It's not the most intuitive approach. It can be a little bit difficult. So if you're struggling, just know that it's a very slight learning curve. You gotta just learn through fans in order to get this thing going. However, once you learn those, you realize the brilliance of this, because you get to see everyone else in the community building it live. You have to kind of build time and showcase your work, get ideas based on what everybody else is doing. It's very easy to ask questions and learn more about it, troubleshoot the various prompts, etc. But once you're in here, here's the fastest way to get started. Here on the left, scroll down until you find Exit Valley. Now, currently, this is the only sort of world or series that's available. As we go forward, there's going to be a lot more. There's a Western theme one. There's a sci-fi one. They have tons of ideas that are slowly rolling out. This is just the first one that we have. So under Exit Valley, choose 1, 2, or 3, create 1, create 2, create 3. These are just different channels where you're able to start generating your own clips and movies, etc. All right, here in the message, so we create everything through text, through messages in this chat. So I'm going to type slash, and I'll see a list of commands. The only one you need to remember at the beginning is this one, /scene. Type /scene, hit enter, and it'll kind of blow it up into different options that you can use. These are different characters and actions and sets that you need to fill out for this thing to start creating. So in this case, we have character 1, action, character 2, set, like the setting of where it wants to take place, and the dialogue prompt, the actual sort of what's happening. And you can always click here where it says 12 more and add various other options. For example, I want to add a third character and perhaps a filter. These are various filters like old film projector, just like from here, and it gets filled in here. So, but let's do the rest of the scene. So we have character 1. I'll click here in character 1, and let's type Sam Alt and see if we have anything. Sam Altman. SR Plus, these are the community generated ones. These are the suggested ones. So we'll take Sam Altman. There are tons of actions like having an existential crisis, thinking, yawning, fistfight, etc. Character 2, we're going to have Elon Musk is here for the set. There's tons of sets like the unicorn crying, lab, you know what? I'm just going to choose that one. And the character 3 is going to be Ilya Sutskever. Ilya Sutskever, check. And the dialogue prompt, this is the actual prompt they give it. What do you want the scene to be about? If you're using an action, make sure you specify when you want that action to take place. You can be pretty broad and just give the backstory, and the AI will generate the entire dialogue for you. If you want a specific line to be used, you can include that in there as well. And I'll say Elon, Sam, and Ilya are meeting in the OpenAI basement. Sam has discovered AGI and is trying to figure out what to do with it. Elon wants to use it to colonize Mars. Sam really wants to use it to make a lot of money. Ilya is worried about what's going to happen and wants to build a bunker before releasing it. And we'll say it ends in a cliffhanger. And for activity, I'm going to say drinks coffee. A lot of these other activities can be a little bit tricky to edit. So if you're using something specific like a fist fight, make sure to specify exactly where in the script that fist fight happens. All right, activity, drinks coffee, and then we hit enter. And as you can see here, so the Showrunner app is saying it's going to generate the dialogue, it's going to generate the animations. Don't worry if you don't get it right on the first time. I'll show you exactly how to edit it to your specifications. There are tons of other commands in various available. Now, doing this actually a different page. So this URL, you can create a new character here or see the available characters here. There are tons of different characters, sets, places, props. You can create your very own character. You can upload images or describe them. Select an existing voice or record or upload a voice sample and have basically a brand new character generated. Your backstory, where they are located in San Francisco, for example. As you can see, there's quite a bit of power here. There's a lot of editing abilities, and you can use this to really bring your imagination to life. As you're going through it, check out the FAQs and also tips and tricks. There's some great tips and tricks in here. That's actually how I learned about the actions. Actions can be a little bit tricky if you want to finer dialogue control, the languages, how to add pauses, varying tones, etc. So again, there's quite a bit of control here. And once your scene is ready, it'll appear here. You can see this clip and download here. You can download by clicking this button, or it's embedded here, so you can just watch it in Discord. Let's take a look. All right, YouTube, this is it. AGI, the real fucking deal. And we need to decide what the hell to do with it. Decide. Sam, this the goddamn Prometheus of our time. We use it to terraform Mars, obviously. Imagine AGI-powered Martian cities. Terraform Mars? Are you out of your fucking mind, Elon? We don't even know if this thing will turn us into paper clips first. Guys, let's not get ahead of ourselves. What if we just, monetize the shit out of it first, like AGI as a service? Monetize. Sam, you're thinking like a goddamn accountant. This is about destiny, not dollars. Mars is the next frontier.
No.
Destiny. How about survival, Elon? You need a bunker. Big fuck off bunker. Before this thing decides we're obsolete.
Bunker? Jesus, Ilya, you sound like JD Vance after a bad acid trip.
JD Vance. That guy couldn't engineer his way out of a fucking paper bag. Focus, Sam. Mars.
Mars won't matter if we're all dead. We need to control this thing, or it'll control us.
Control it, or sell it to the highest bidder. Trillions, guys. Trillions.
Trillions won't mean shit if we're extinct, Sam. We need to act now. AGI on Mars or bust.
Bust? That's your plan? Jesus Christ, we're so fucked.
Wait, what if we ask it, the AGI, what it wants? And that's the cliffhanger. What if we ask the AGI? And as you can see, that's at the scene of the next scene that we're able to generate next. Okay, but what happens if some of those things feel off, or the dialogue is not quite right? What if they say something that you didn't want them to say? What do? It's actually pretty cool. You click the edit script button here, and you get to this page, the scene script editor. You have the original video here. You can rate it, and it has a kind of a powerful editor. So first and foremost, here's the script. So as you can see here, it starts with the character name, colon, and then sort of the thing that they say, the line. below we have this hashtag shot type. I'll explain that in a second. And then anxious. So that's the delivery voice, the tone of the voice, right? You can have angry, neutral, anxious, etc. And if you want them to cut to another character while that character's talking to see their reaction, this is the cut to Sam Altman, for example. So that's the script on the right. If you keep
Power on.
All right. Guys. Ah. Yep. The goddamn, my spider's getting big. It found the other it didn't even have to make a web. It was like it was this web from yesterday. I threw it up in there. The spider came down, found it. Now I got to make dinner. I gotta cook for the wife. It's bedtime. It's 8 o'clock. Tomoki, Mikey, where's the bag? Where's the bag? The kitchen.
these helpful notes that actually explain what all those things mean, various shots types, specific characters, Dutch angle shots, right? This mountain across camera shake, scary is happening. Which style of camera shaking can hide or unhide characters, pauses, cutting to various other things. Place has tons of power here to edit the script. Unless you're able to edit the sets, you're able to edit the characters, sitting or standing, have video clips, prompts, actual actions and stuff. And you're able to edit, they say, right here in the script. Just type in whatever you want. As if you're reading tips and tricks, if you want to get fancy with it, because there's a lot of advanced stuff in there. So let's say I need this line and I read this. I asked him how to make the best copy, and it just happened to bring it online. Like the API. So once we change it there, we just hit the generate video at the bottom. And once it's done generating, you can see in the new version of our YouTube. This is it. AGI. I asked it how to make the best copy, and I just happened to bring it online. And we need to decide what the hell to do with it. So let me know what you think about this. Do you think this is going to disrupt Hollywood? Are you excited about this? Is this a good thing, a bad thing? Let me know in the comments. And if you try this out,
It's definitely going to disrupt Hollywood, dude. Start with cartoons, and it's going to be everything. You want steak, Mama? Come on, Kay! Why is your phone on the ground, Mama? And then what happened with the beer? Oh,
Crushed it somewhere.
I didn't crush somewhere.
And when I opened it, the beer, it was crushed. Can't drink. God, why you drinking?
London.
I mean, milk him. Why are you drinking now?
I don't know. Maito, doko. You eat this fish? Sakana? Yuta. They kill. I can't watch Japanese watching dolphins. You know why? Because Japanese kill dolphins at that dolphin cove. What's the name of that place? Toji? Toji. 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 Tommy, do you know Toji? Taji. You ever seen this? You ever seen this? Really horrible. I can't stand it watching dolphins on national TV. Ridiculous. I'm upset. It's Japanese. Japanese, and they. Do you know Taiji? Do you know Taiji Cove? Do you know Taiji Cove, Tommy? You know Taiji Cove? Huh. Use that thing there again. Nani. Do you know Taiji, Tommy? You ever heard of Taiji? Moki. You heard of Taiji? Huh? Hey, here's your steak sauce. Huh? Mama, no. Mamas. Mm. Have you heard of Taiji? Taiji Cove? Oh, it's horrific, man. What? They killed dolphins in Japan, and this one fish, and they killed them all. They trapped them and then hit them with sticks and their babies, everything. Japanese fishermen. Dolphins. Taiji. Look it up on YouTube. Taiji. We should go there, Tommy. Let's go there. No, let's go together. Save the dolphins. I want my son to see it. Stay doing it. Yeah. Taiji Cove. Watch, there's a whole playlist on it. These creatures have brains as big as ours. Horrible. What happens? You want more, Tommy? You still hungry? Huh? Huh? Oh, you want more steak and rice or something? You want milkshake? What do you want? Well, make you French toast. Maito, you hungry? Well, I'll bring my son. I want my son to see it. I'll go. Yeah. I'll say I want my son to see what you do to these dolphins. I want him to understand. Pretty horrific, eh? A little steak cutlets. Look at that, those little steak cutlets. That'd be a good way to go. Tourist, dying protecting the dolphins. I'd like that way to go. That'd be a good way to go. Dying trying to protect the dolphin. I wonder if there was a death in the cove, would they shut it off for a year to investigate? I had more chicken.
Here's your beer. Huh? Yeah, all your chicken, all your meat. What? And mom or anything? Huh? You want steak and rice? Blackberry. Blackberry. Banana. Bring me Tommy's plate, will you, Mikey? Bring me Tommy's plate, Mikey. Honey guy. Huh? Thank you for bringing Tommy's cup.
好，等等，我去，我来よ。
Come. Tomolky, where are you? Milkshake. Huh? Where's Tommy's plate? I asked you to bring Tommy's cup here. Really lazy. Yeah. How hungry are you, Mikey? Here. Bozo. Here. Hey. Here. Eat to get off your phone. Avocado with olive oil. I don't know what size you.
Nande. Dolphins. Pretty horrific, though. One thing I don't like about Japan is what they do with the dolphin. My spiders are fat, though. God damn. I don't think I've ever seen a spider as fat as my spider. It's about to burst out of its seams. I threw a caterpillar earlier tonight before I went. It was just dangling there all day. I put it there earlier today, and the spider came. Web. It's like, oh my God. I'm going to be the god of spiders. Bruce. Spiders going to start making stories about, oh, God gave us caterpillars. The juiciest damn things on the planet. I mean, a caterpillar is damn juicy, you know? All that. It's amazing. I mean, all they eat is my damn tomato plant. I mean, my orange, plant, and I feed them to the caterpillars. I used to throw them on the road, but I'm now going caterpillar on them. So, 0-2's creatures. All of 0-2. We're all 0-2. Even the creatures are 0-2. The boxes. The box. This was leftover from yes, I got to eat it. This was the dinner. This is like this. This was my mashed potato goulash. Wasn't a hit. I think it's good. It's got big chunks of meat in there. You want more? You want more steak, Mikey? Huh? It's got eggplant in it. It's got mashed potatoes. It's got big pieces of meat. It has squid. It's like a seafood steak gumbo or something. I don't know what you'd call it. But I figure it needs eating. It's got my tomatoes. I had my old tomato sauce that I made, remember, from my tomatoes. So I had left over that. So I kind of made up a whole bunch of leftovers. It's good. Mikey, what do you mean you can't eat? Unbelievable. You better make a better effort than that. Why did you get anything from the store? Go to bed. Good night, Tony. I'm going to help you out. We're ending the stream. Me and Tony on the same bedtime, right? Good night, Tony.